The dawn of civilization, humanity has yearned to move faster, reach further. It began with a single step, marking our first journey into the unknown. From horse hooves thundering across plains, we learned to harness nature's power. To ships crossing vast oceans, connecting worlds that seem forever apart. Steel and steam forged our path forward, machinery breathing life into our dreams. Until railways united nations, iron horses racing toward tomorrow. Then our minds took flight, breaking free from physical bounds. Through mathematics, through science, unlocking the universe's deepest secrets, into digital realms and artificial minds where imagination knows no limits. This is our journey from earthbound dreamers to creators of new worlds. This is Flux, for the people, by the people.
We are live.
And we're circles, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like that's a new thing, dude.
That's a new thing.
You've been messing with the settings and shit again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
Good morning, everyone. God damn, these days are exciting. I love State of the Union, man. Like for a week before that, I'm just like, I'm watching all the team putting stuff together, and we're just kind of all flowing and jamming. It's a lot of fun, Davey. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is kind of a tradition we started many years ago. It's our yearly State of the Union, and basically what we're doing is we're level setting with our community. We're making sure everybody understands what Flux is doing, what Influx is doing, what we're doing as a community as a whole, and it sheds light on things that we've done and that we will do. The one thing that's going to change this go around is I'm doing this a bit different because we have so many new faces coming to the space. The number one question I feel all the time is, what is Flux? How do I use Flux? What are you guys doing? What makes you different from other projects? So what I'd like to do is start out very differently. So look, this is going to be a long event, guys. There's 96 slides. Like, I'm not playing here. We're going to go through every facet of this business, and you may need to perk your ears up at particular point in times, and I'll make sure you know when those times are there. And other times you may want to just take a rest and just sit back and listen to me rant and maybe fall asleep since my smooth voice on my new.
We'll take a break as well. Like we'll give everybody a bit of a chance at one point.
Everybody a couple seconds to breathe. But everybody says to me, they're like, why don't you make it a little longer, go a lot more in depth on the things that we're doing? And I'm doing that. So now that we move into the new year, if somebody says, what's Flux doing? You say, watch this video and then come back and talk to me. And we should cover everything. I'm also going to talk about why DePIN is unbelievably important. Like it's not just the crypto word soup du jour. It is probably the biggest thing since Bitcoin, in my opinion. And we're going to talk exactly about. Somebody said my mic is awesome, Davey.
I was just gonna highlight it. That would make your day. I know.
Do you remember when the community took up a fundraising because
pitchforks?
It sucks so bad. Dude, now I've got lights up here. Well, I've been doing these news network things, mostly on this. What the hell's it called? I can't remember. It's like an Australian UK TV thing. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
name escapes me
now they're working on trying to get me onto some, US based shows and stuff like that. So I had to actually go out and buy like a setup. So I have more stuff coming. Don't worry. You won't see the bed in the background when I go on, CNBC. We'll make sure that that's cleaned up.
At least tell me you're doing the same thing as Kevin O'Leary and sitting there with your pajama pants on.
Well, I do have sweatpants. Yes.
Okay,
There's no doubt about that. That's how I live. That's how I roll. It's my lifestyle. Okay, guys, couple things before we get started. Pace yourself. Get ready for information overload. Housekeeping. This is different. This is a State of the Union. So we don't necessarily do AMA in this event, but we are going to try something.
I'll keep track of it.
Well, I think what we're going to do is try something new. As soon as this AMA ends, I think we're going to move over to Twitter and start a Twitter or an X space. God, I'll never not call it Twitter. We'll start an X space and we'll start answering questions on there because I believe we get way more exposure, way more engagement on that. So, I can set one up from the main account as soon as this is done and we can just kind of get me and you and maybe some of the other team members can jump on. Big thank yous to the team. We're coming up on the end of the year. We would not be here without you guys. Like I truly, honestly am honored. I did a post the other night about how much I love being on this team and around these people. These aren't just normal people. These are people that care. I've worked corporate jobs the majority of my life, and being here is just different. These are my friends and these are, my people that I want to change the world with, which is pretty cool. So I would say to anybody that's looking to do something like that, find something that you love to do and then make it a career. You know what I mean? I loved decentralization, and I was in the corporate world. And unfortunately, when you're in the corporate world, it's hard to get out of the corporate world. But I was glad to make that escape. And I think if you work on what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I truly believe that.
And
Australian interviews, and it's called Ticker. They like me. Ticker likes me.
I'm going to Dan for a second now. And I've muted Dan now. I want to thank Dan for once too. He's always thanking us. We always take it for granted what the guy is doing. He is working his butt off, not 24/7. I don't even know when he sleeps at this point. Sometimes we can't find him, but that's not because he's in La La Land. No, he's working his butt off somewhere, and he's working with somebody at some point. The contacts he's made for us in the space, the things he's done for us in the space, not just for Flux, but for everything in general. Echo Wallet comes to mind, keeping that thing alive. The things he's done for everybody in the space is enormous. I think we all owe a lot to him. And from my end, thank you, Dan, for all you've done. You've been a great boss, but also a great friend. We had a great summer. Again, thank you for having us stay in Delaware. That was a great time. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Now I'll mute him, and he can ramble for an hour and a half now. So enjoy, folks.
I love it, dude. That's how you capture me, right? Just pin me in.
That's how I can control him somewhat.
I appreciate it, Davey. The honor's all mine, though, man. Like you guys, and I'll say it again. It's just to be working with this group of people. The minds that we work with are absolutely astonishing. I can honestly say there's no blockchain project, there's no crypto project, there's no nothing like what Flux does. I mean, really, honestly, I see it from the ground up, and it really is amazing. A couple other things. If you have questions, you can throw them in chat. Davey will highlight them, and we will pop them over to the AMA afterwards. I'm going to give away a couple prizes today for the people that showed up. We got a lot of people joining, so this ought to be a good one. I'm going to give away for people that like, retweet, and live stream or live tweet. So in other words, they're sending tweets about what they're seeing here today. I'll be giving away a $500 Apple gift card. I'll be giving away a $200 gift card for the new Flux store. If you haven't checked out our new Flux store, check it out. Betty, if you're on here, throw the address up in the chat, please, so people can check it out, because we cleaned it up, we streamlined it, and we made it look fancy. So check it out, guys. And then I'll also be grabbing a bunch of people to get this, Decentralizing the Future, the book. So if you haven't seen this out here, check it out. It's a great little it's not necessarily a Bible or a book about Flux, although there's a lot about Flux, but it talks about the underlying concepts of what Web3 truly is, like decentralized infrastructure. So it goes very deep down the rabbit hole. Definitely worth the read. And these are actually called the Founders Editions. So there's only 200 of these created. These are they'll be hand signed 1 to 100 or 200, and we'll be giving out a couple of these today, and then we'll be giving out a couple of the regular ones today. So pay attention and be engaged. Get on Twitter or X while you're doing this, and throw some tweets out there. Get people involved and interested, and then I'll pick out the ones over the next several hours that I think are kick ass, and that's how I'll award those prizes to. All right, I think that's it. So, the other asterisk that I just wanted to bring up is we are like, it's that time again. It's that season. I'm not going to say it's the old season, but I'm saying it's a season where all the nefarious shitbags come out of the woodwork, right? So here's just, I posted a wonderful little how-to about Zelcore, SSP, or any wallet you're using out there today. Secure your shit. Unique username, unique password, highly complex, highly complicated. You will have a secure platform forever. Do not use the same computer you browse the internet on or surf porn, because we see a lot of issues with people that are, checking out porn sites, and the next thing you know, their wallets are dried. So do not be the one that fucks around and finds out. Get a cheap laptop, format that thing. Staples has them, I think, for like $199 now, and it's like a Windows PC. You just blow that. I usually rip the hard drives out, put new hard drives in, all that kind of stuff, and then keep that bitch offline. Stick it somewhere, and that's your primary access. You can do it with tablets too. Tablets are another one. Not my preference, but some people like that as well. And it doesn't matter what crypto wallet you have. If you don't secure it effectively, don't take pictures of your fucking seed word and leave it on Apple Cloud, or Dropbox, because people do this shit, right? And you think, I think I'm crazy. The next thing they come in and they say, Zelcore was hacked or whatever. It's not that, dude. It's like you have to take the steps and the measures to. You want to be your own bank. It comes with your responsibility. Now, yeah, Geek of All Trades is on there. He did a really good video, and I appreciated him working with me to, get a nice little video out there for the community. Good sport, good dude. Learned a lot, I think. And I think we all took some value. Check it out. It was on his podcast, I think, or YouTube channel. Was it last week? Maybe, I don't know. It could have been this week. The days all run together. I'm so excited. It's like most people get excited for Christmas. I get excited for this. All right, so that's my soapbox piece. Now, without further ado, let's roll into this bad boy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go fast, because there is a lot of content here to distribute. I'm going to let you know the areas where you definitely need to pay attention. I would recommend for the first at least 20 slides to listen and start to understand the cadence of what we're doing with DePIN, because this is super important, people. This is how we're going to educate the next round of users that are coming from retail, that are coming from business. And these are the things that we've accumulated, the research that we've accumulated over the past 4 years, really over the past 7 years, because we knew this was going to be a problem, in 2017, 2018. So we knew that we were going to have to make some changes. So going to buzz through things. I put a table of contents at the beginning so you can highlight the areas that may make more sense to you. Plus two, what we'll do is when we post this video, we'll go back and edit it with timestamps so that if you want to jump to a particular area, you'll be able to do that. So State of the Union for Flux in 2024. So I'll start out by saying the State of the Union in Flux is strong and grows stronger every day. and I am not shitting when I say that. It is rock solid. We have developed an unbelievable fucking project, and we should be unbelievably proud about what we have done. So let's go ahead, and we are also streaming on the main account. Okay, just so everybody sees that on there. All right.
Just so you guys know, we are transitioning this YouTube channel over at one point to the one I just showed.
Yeah, but we'll keep them both.
Don't worry about that for now.
We'll worry about that later. We're going to keep both of them going and stream to both of them because we have a lot of folks that still use them. So don't worry, you're not going to get left in the dark.
All right.
All right, guys, without further ado, these are the table of contents. What is DePIN? Highly recommend you put your ears on and listen to this one because it really breaks down exactly what DePIN is and why it's important. The evolution of the web, the major mass catastrophe that is slowly appearing, and that is our data center capacity. We have an unbelievable demand for compute resources that we, as a human race, as a technological race, have yet to repair and or address. Marketing. We'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in marketing and what's Flux. You know, for the folks that are brand new to this might be your first time of coming to a State of the Union or listening to a State of the Union. So what is Flux? Why is it important? What's it doing? How's it going to change the game? And we'll talk some about our partnerships. We'll do our overview. We'll talk about, these are all roadmap pieces. So we're going to talk about what we've done and what we're going to do moving in. And there are some nice little surprises in here for folks that love leaks. You know me, I love to cram shit in here that's going to be, you didn't hear about before. Flux Edge and Flux Core, by far, probably Flux OS, Flux Edge, and Flux Core and Flux AI have grown so much this year that I can't even begin to tell you how impressed I am with them. Our SSP wallet as well. I mean, we're adding users every day. It's growing. People love the fact that we're like one of the only truly two-factor authentication with your mobile device floating around on the market. We'll talk about our conferences and sponsorships. We did quite a few of those this year, and we're going to do quite a few next year. So we'll talk about those pieces. We're going to talk about Flux OS Cloud. We're going to talk about Edge and Flux Core. Again, these are all roadmap pieces. Flux AI, Zelcore, SSP, Fusion Exchange. That's a new one. Your ears should pop up when you hear that, Fusion Exchange. Okay. Flux Runner. That should pop you up because that's a new acquisition by Influx and a new project we're going to chat about. And we're going to talk about some additional plans. That's where everything that didn't fit in this State of the Union gets crammed into this one slide at the end. So, you know, good stuff. So we'll start out by doing this. Again, I apologize for the people that have been here and they understand the premise of what DePIN is and why it's so important. This will be a bit of a review, but we have a lot of people that are coming in and this is the first time. So decentralized physical infrastructure network is a concept where physical infrastructure is owned and operated by participants rather than a single company, companies, or entity. Individuals contribute resources to a network and get rewarded. So the big piece of this is decentralized, owner and operated by participants, and you get rewarded. So that means we're not cultivating your data. You're going to get paid for what you provide. You'll be paid in the Flux asset, the Flux token, Flux coin. I hate the word token, but I'll use it because everybody knows it now. And in that, we're incentivizing people to participate with this network to build out that infrastructure for us to be able to grow. So here's a little, and I love these little facts and statements, right? So facts matter, right? So when you're talking to people, a lot of times you hear them on these, X spaces and so on and so forth. They talk very nebulous. They don't talk about actual tangible data. So for us, we went out and we did the research. There's about 10 to 25 billion in the DePIN sector and has more than doubled in the past 6 months. That is an exponential rate of growth only seen in major adoptions, the internet, cell phones, so on and so forth. This is a massive growth sector. So roughly around 15 million in annualized on-chain revenue. That's on-chain revenue. That doesn't count off-chain revenue because they're kind of a symbiotic relationship. So we had to use a number. we are expecting about $10 trillion of the total GDP over the next decade. So $10 trillion will flow into DePIN and the DePIN sectors over the next decade. That's astronomical, but when you think about what centralized compute holds in value, that's a drop in the bucket. And we have around 1,500 plus DePIN projects and growing stronger every day. So one of the areas where we look at is where's the market hot? And, obviously Flux is not a VC-laden project. It's a proof of work, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't study what's happening in the investment industry. And what we're seeing is in 2024, DePIN early stage fundraising, they've about $246 million. Now, this is up to, I believe, August the 1st, and this comes from Mazzari fundraising database. So you can see the exponential growth in the total amount raised over the total deal count. We're continuing to see both of them tick up in an upward direction. And I believe in 2025, this will at least double, perhaps triple in terms of size. So the VC markets are very hot right now. Most people invest in the assets. This is different from what we've seen in the past. Everybody talked about the Bitcoin ETF. We're going to get this on ramp. But what we're seeing is people rejecting a lot of, obviously there's been great adoption by legacy finance, but people that know or in the know, they invest directly with the assets. So I think what you're not seeing here is the fact there's been massive raises around the DePIN sector, but it's been user-driven, community-driven, and that doesn't reflect. These are specifically through funding arms. So some of the DePIN sectors kind of look like this. This, again, I believe comes from Mazzari. These are their DePIN sectors. So you got your server network, your wireless network, your energy network, so on and so forth. Obviously you see Flux under the compute network. It could definitely traverse any one of these except for the wireless network. And even with the wireless network, we have devices that can be deployed on the same that run Helium and so on and so forth. And we're actually looking at some pieces there as well where we can remotely deploy Flux nodes along with Helium nodes across the board. So that could be very interesting and quite an uptick. I think you'll see that more as we work on our Cirrus nodes. So this is kind of what the DePIN space looks like today. We have, I think each one of these projects is doing kind of a very unique thing. Flux is not Akash. Akash is not Flux. Both very awesome projects that continue to keep growing. I prefer proof of work networks. If you get Greg, he'll tell you proof of stake. And I think it's, Ford or Chevy, Pepsi or Coke. I personally think you're completely decentralized if you're proof of work. That's why I like our ecosystem. But I'm good with what anybody that's developing and actually building out a truly valuable product in DePIN and Web3, I'm all about it. So good projects there across the board. So DePIN really kind of fills this next. It's been the hole in our story about our next evolution of the internet. The first one, we called it Web 1. These were our read-only interactions. So your Googles, your MSNs, your Netscapes, your AOLs, if you remember that. You've got mail. Yep, well, we remember it, right? That's Web 1. Then along comes the back and forth, right? So now you have your social media pieces, your Twitters, your X, that should not be a bird, that should be an X, but that's okay. Your Airbnbs, your Facebooks, your so on and so forth. So these are read-write. These are interactions. And now we move into this very final phase, which is Web 3.0. And this is where DePIN comes into play. This is where we read, write, and own. Our data is our data. This is what we keep. This is what we monetize. This is what we decide we want to share with the outside world. So this closes that circle, that perfect trifecta of what internet is and has become. I think, the original version of the internet was this, town square, this uncensored, unfettered, place where free speech reigned. We've seen that basically get shit mixed over the past, let's say 4 years. And we really, we really need to take that back. And the only way we're going to do that is we're going to do it with code. That's the way it is. If we govern with code, then we'll be good. So what's the problem? there's a major problem, and that is the current data center infrastructure is inadequate to meet the growing demand of compute power, mostly driven by AI. However, you can start to segue some quantum pieces in there as well. Quantum's overrated. The whole FUD this week was that, they were going to, Google's new chip was going to break Bitcoin. Anybody that knows that they're full of shit. It's a way to, depress price or whatever like that. Quantum will eventually become a challenge, but what people have to remember is quantum not only will break encryption, it will create encryption, right? So it will be this tandem world where the technology that we've built today may end up using an algorithm or may end up using a consensus model we haven't even thought up yet. So keep that in your mind. This is an argument where the anti-gun people say we need to get rid of guns. Well, I've never seen a gun mysteriously get up and kill someone, right? It's always the users that are interfacing with it, and I think this is the exact same scenario. We have these major challenges. We've got to get to the center of it. We understand the problem, and we need to scale appropriately. And I think that's where Web3 comes into play. It addresses the growing demand for compute power, offering scalable solutions to meeting and rising needs. We have, look, factual, and I'm not bullshitting you. Pay attention here, people. I'm going to go over some statistics. If we build a data center a day for the next 10 years, we still would not put a dent into what we will need for the final output of what AI truly becomes. And by the way, I'm an AI maximalist. I believe that AI will change the way we do things. I am not one of those people that believe that it's going to take over the world and kill all the humans. Anything could happen, I guess, but I see the value add. And if you've really digged deep into what AI currently is, it's nothing. It's a glorified chat box. It's a glorified search engine. However, it gets better every day. So how do we get it to the next level? We need compute resources, and we just don't have them. The problem is centralized powers, the big techs, as I commonly say, the disruptors have come to disrupt the disruptors. We were the disruptors that were going to flip big tech and big finance on its ear, only to have big tech walk in and talk about how it's now, I am now the Web3. You look at AWS coming out and saying they're supporting Web3 projects. That's kind of fucking why we left, right? Is that AWS had their nose in everything. So we've got to get to the point where there is no single point of control, and that will also reduce our vulnerability issues. So what's the solution? Decentralized power distributes control and resources across multiple entities. This makes sense. And as we start to see people really embrace Bitcoin and the decentralized model that it has become, whether you hear, people like Roger Ver arguing it's been hijacked by finance, I don't agree with that. I think you've asked for and want adoption. To get to that point, you have to have people that champion the cause. So, I think we're just getting started. I think you're going to see the same thing with Web3. You're already seeing folks like Google and Amazon coming out saying they have Web3 solutions. Well, they don't. They're not Web3. If they're hosted on their infrastructure, the reason we left and built this was because they suck. You know what I mean? They're completely centralized. So anyway, but I do believe it'll be a tandem for over the next several years. The problem is traditional cloud storage solutions risk data loss and compromise integrity. We have seen this over and over and over and over again. 20 million names, addresses, phone numbers, information, social security numbers leaked. You get a letter in the mail that says, hey, bro, sorry about that. Here's a service that we bought in bulk that you can monitor your credit with. And by the way, peace out. No accountability, no responsibility, no, what am I going to do different next time to make sure that this happens? You are nothing more than fodder for the machine. You are the data that drives their databases. They give two shits about who you are. They give two shits about monetizing your assets. And this is where Web3 really strikes. It ensures that content remains safe, encrypted, available indefinitely. It offers a comprehensive solution to censorship and deplatforming it. Look, I love that people are talking about decentralization. You have Rumble that came out and said they talked about how they're decentralized. They're not. They run their data on servers, in server stations, in AWS and Google, and sit there and perpetually pick on projects like Google and other folks, the big legacy folks. They take pop shots at them, and they're not decentralized themselves. Don't be fooled by these projects that are out there saying they're creating these platforms so that that is censorship resistant. They're not. So this is a big piece of what we're doing. The problem is centralized models incur costs and provide incur high costs and provides bare sole responsibility for infrastructure expenses. Web3 is a solution. Decentralization makes cloud services more affordable by leveraging blockchain rewards. Web3 can offer these services at a significantly lower cost, making them 90% more cost effective. Almost kind of ridiculous when you think about it. Damn near free. Flux has really based itself around a Linux distribution model. We're trying to give the products away for darn near for free, so we get more adoption and more growth, and exactly what we have seen. And we'll talk about some of the areas that we've really focused on this development, because that 90% cheaper immediately pops up this thing in your mind. Well, how do you make money? You can make money and provide a fair service, quicker, bigger, faster, stronger than the competitors. And if you do this effectively and you adopt a UI UX that is great, people will gravitate toward you. So you can be 90% cheaper, but if your UI UX is dog shit, you're not going to get those people to retain. So our goal has been to really concentrate around that UI UX and those deployment features. As we talked earlier about the data center capacity, we have a real fucking problem. So stop what you're doing. Look at this chart here, because this is huge. This is our data center capacity buckling under the AI demand. The haves and have-nots are massive. Elon Musk can stand up a multi-billion-dollar data center because he has the resources to do so. But the normal people out there in the world that aren't billionaires, and by the way, I love Elon, by the way, I'm not knocking on him, but I'm just being factual. This gives us the opportunity to fix this glaring hole. And it isn't infrastructure. That's the kicker. Because everybody says, well, then it's got to be data centers. It's not data centers. It's power. It's all about power. Sourcing power, getting power, natural resources, being able to deploy this power effectively, these data centers. Now, granted, you don't have to really worry about this much with particular products, but if you're AI heavy, you need to have that infrastructure, and that's where Flux comes in to meet that need. So there is no way under the current demand, and you can see this exponentially grows through 2027. And this actually takes a hockey stick directly up. And I should have put that slide in here too. But this goes straight hockey stick. This doesn't stop. And a matter of fact, it gets much, much quicker, much more rapid as we continue our growth and development. We are at the very early precipice, the outset of the .com boom. Okay. So we are at we're making a lot of products that don't necessarily do. This is the pets.com. These are the projects that were in a grandiose, said we're going to build all these amazing things. They promise the world, and then they end up failing. So, we see a lot of these projects being built, especially these meme coins and shit like that. That are promising the world, talking about delivery models, talking about solving an issue, and they do fucking nothing. And that's why projects like Flux are really going to expand over the next several years, because they actually fix a problem. And I can directly see Flux competing with the major heavy legacy tech sectors, the AWSs, the Googles, and so on and so forth within this year, not this year, 2024, 2020, 2025. We can handle the majority of their workloads. And as a matter of fact, some of the partners that we've been talking to, one very large partner, Fortune 100 company, they understand the value add of load balancing between the two platforms. And I think you're going to see a lot of that adoption as we grow as well. this is a scary fact, man. Like this keeps me up at night. AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud services make up 65% of our compute resources in the world. Let me reread that. AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud collectively make up 65%. We've got a major problem, guys. If you want to talk about the have and have-nots, you're going to see the have-nots very shortly, because we will have a massive issue getting compute resources for development, anything out of like Fortune 500 companies. So we have to build products that address that now. The global compute market is massive, with an expected compound, now that's the key word here, guys, expected compound annual growth rate of 16% from 2023 to 2032. And by the way, that number is drastically low. If I redid that number today and we reevaluated that, that would be closer to the 22 percentile, because we've seen such an exponential growth just in the last quarter of this cycle coming into 2025. So, and you can see I broke these out in several areas. You've got platform as a service, software as a service, and infrastructure as a service. And clearly you can see which one is moving a bit more exponential, and that's your infrastructure as a service. And guess what? If that wasn't growing at a more exponential clip than the other two wouldn't be growing at all. You need your that's why it's the layer of these three things. You have to have your IaaS to be able to support your other platforms, if that makes sense. This by far is probably the most telling for our industry where we're headed. You know, it's super easy. If we were sitting at Amazon year, 4 or 5, and we were looking at online sales, this is what it would look like. This graph is what it would look like. The trend is trending up. We have on-demand machine pricing by producer. There are people out there that allow you to rent that infrastructure, albeit centralized. And these are some of our competitors, our direct competitors. So A6000s, V100s, V140 gigs, V180 gigs, and our all glorious H100s. And you can see your H100s range anywhere. I've seen them on Akash as low as $1.49, which is pretty impressive. And by the way, we will be adding at one point the Akash network into our marketplace, because we don't believe we're competitors with them. We believe we can accent each other quite nicely. And I think you could definitely see us being part of their marketplace at some point in time, because it makes sense. And as a matter of fact, we have a product that we'll talk about it when we get to our new products. Davey, remind me about Grid. I want to talk about Grid a little bit, because that's where I think the majority of these new infrastructures are going.
We'll talk about some of the other projects that we work really close with now, and Flux Runner, Grid, a couple others.
Yep.
One thing that's missing on this slide, before anybody jumps on us, yes, there's no H200s mentioned on here. It's a little early to really get a proper price on these. It's still setting where the price is going to be. But the H100s, for instance, AWS is missing there. They go over $6.50. Just FYI.
Yeah, it's insanely expensive. It's not even like the companies that we have talking to us right now, especially the ones in the medical field. They're like, we need something that we can actually afford. And because they're pigeonholed into products like, Google and AWS and Microsoft, it's very difficult. Those products make it, and trust me, CIO for 20 plus years, man. Like, I know. They get you in, they lock you in, they keep you in. I mean, they've even moved to monthly monetary systems on everything. If you want 365, you're paying for it every month. If you want OneDrive, you're paying for it per month. And they make it almost impossible for you to leave their platforms. So, and that's where Flux comes into play, is I think this is the last move you have to make, because then it's your data. And if you want to place it somewhere else or be incentivized for it to be somewhere else, so be it, but you have it. So, yeah, and the technology footprint changes pretty quickly. So the H200s, they will be added eventually. Will they be the premium ones that everybody wants to go to? I don't think so. As we grow, give me 3 H100s and I'll pay for those way quicker than I'd pay for that H200. And that's why Flux has been unbelievably successful. Is what we take everyday graphics cards, your 4060s, your 3060 Ti's. All of these cards that are normal mining cards, and we use them to basically pool our resources. And I think that's where we're stronger. Strength in numbers, people. Strength in numbers. So these numbers come down exponentially if you start to utilize Flux for your needs. Flux is the leading decentralized infrastructure platforming bridging providers and users of compute storage. Let me read that again. Flux is the leading decentralized infrastructure platform bridging providers and users of compute and storage. So if you take the majority of these larger projects that are out there trying to do what we're doing, we've already surpassed them exponentially. We're truly an ecosystem. The majority of those folks are using secondary pieces to compete with us because, by the way, we've had a nice, 7-year head start to get where we're at today because we had this vision, in 2018 and we built it out for the next, several years. For them to get where we're at quickly, they have to fake it. And their theory is fake it till you make it. So if you start to push back on some of these platforms and challenge what they're doing, ask for their metrics, ask for their data, ask to see, how things are going, you're not going to see it. So be more than a white paper and a dream. And that's really what comes into play with Flux. So where we are kicking ass, our State of the Union on all of our developments is strong as could be. We have over 70 plus employees at this point. This needs to be updated. We have 25 people that are dedicated, committing to GitHub. We've had 13,000 commits. And these are not commits that are just like, I changed something on the website. Here's my commit. These are tangible infrastructure commits. Flux OS, Flux Edge, Flux Drive, the list, Zelcore, SSP, you name it, the list goes on and on. 13,000 plus commits, 230 GitHub PRs, and we have moved well over 75,000 transactions a day, which puts us right. We were in front of Litecoin for a while. Then all of a sudden, I guess they got an intern who pumped the price. I don't know what the fuck that was, but whatever. Litecoin's up and it's got more transactions now, but that's okay. Ours are actually doing something. No burn intended. Being the leading decentralized infrastructure platform, what does that look like, right? So this breaks down. Flux creates the connective tissue. New buzzword, guys. When you talk to people about Flux, it is the connective tissue between providers and users of compute and storage. Our solution is a necessity to address rising demand of compute driven by AI and soon to be quantum that cannot be addressed by existing planned data center infrastructure. So we have on this side the providers of compute. So we monetize them for the resources, maximize data center efficiency, and earn from your personal devices. On this side are the users of compute. Easy development for developers and enterprise. We have a Docker structure that we've built out, Kubernetes for Flux Edge. So this is, if you've built it in technology, we make it easy to come to Flux, which really makes it quite nice. It's cost efficient alternative to these hyperscale providers. I look at it this way. Some people like driving Ferraris. I prefer a good old group Buick Grand National. And by the way, that Buick Grand National blew away every Ferrari you've got out there, right? It may not be as sexy as what that Ferrari is, but it is way more powerful. And that's exactly what Flux is. We may not be bright and sexy. We may not be the Ferrari. We're the Buick Grand National of cloud compute, but we get the job done. Flux connects those compute providers and users absolutely seamlessly in our marketplace. It offers CPU, GPU, and storage via our Flux Cloud and Edge. And by the way, we will add in secondary providers. We've already talked to storage. We've talked to Filecoin. These are all products that will eventually be added to Flux to help strengthen our community and build it out. And the big thing is you earn through platform fees, right? The whole purpose of utility is to use it for utility, but to make rewards on top of that, to become a business with this model. It is the one area where we've suffered in blockchain, perpetually unable to explain exactly what we're doing to people. And this helps us clarify it. We earn, we build, we deploy. We are the heart of the network. You can't say that on any of the larger ones, right? We are the heart of the network. So flip me down there to the bottom, Davey. So some stats about Flux. 13,000 plus decentralized systems administrators, decentralized nodes, 106,000 CPU cores, 266 terabytes of RAM, and 7 petabytes of storage. And by the way, the petabytes will 10x as soon as we're ready to do our nodes for the other two. So, big things happening here. In terms of geographical locations, we're in 71 countries all over the world. We have 674 providers providing infrastructure. You can see our heat map there a little bit. The U.S. is definitely popular there. Germany, France, Finland, Canada. I mean, we have nodes, I believe, everywhere. We have them in Africa now. We have them in Australia. When you look at the list, it's just saturated. So pretty impressed with our growth over the past year. Flux Edge has 40,000 benchmarks on their card. So every time a card comes online or a GPU comes online, we're running benchmarks. We've accumulated 40,000 in alpha. We've got 6,000 total machines and over 10,000 GPUs, right? So that number is probably much more, is much higher than that because we've not added it in our provider resources yet. So we've partnered with several large players in the space who have those H100s, have those H200s, and all those.
It's actually a 10x of that.
Sorry, Davey.
No, it's fine. It's basically if we include all the premium providers, we're looking at a 10x of that.
Yep. Yeah, and we are going to add other providers. The goal was to connect people with the compute resources to the have and have-nots, right? So bring those people together. This is the way you do it. This is the way you make it happen. 325 gigabytes of RAM, 100,000 gigabytes of virtual RAM, 69,000 CPU cores. Edge has grown exponentially, and I'm pleased to say that, and this is something you all want to listen to right now. Every Flux product, everyone will be out of beta in January. Starting January 1st, we will be removing the beta tag, and the target is the end of January to have everything removed and into release candidate. We are to the point now where we're ready to pull the Band-Aids off, and we're ready to roll. So I feel we've built a user interface, a UI UX that I can be proud of, that you guys can be proud of, that the community can be proud of. And I think we're ready to hit our stride. So good things happening there. We'll get out of that beta alpha phase, and we're in full release candidate in January. The team's probably pissed at me, but that's okay. They'll get over it. Love you guys. All right. So what's the structure look like? A DePIN should be that back end. So we really have this kind of hybrid symbiotic world between the Web 2, Web 3 ecosystem. This is a great, and if you're live tweeting this and you're throwing some things out there, this is a good one to show people exactly why this is important, right? Because you have to use Flux to traverse both these ecosystems. On the Web 2 side, you got your email, Google, Apple IDs, SSO. You have Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, Stripe, and a payment structure. And in the middle sits Flux. And on the other side of that, Edge for compute, Flux Core for compute and mining software audit. You have your Flux wallet, your Zelcore, your SSP, so your personal accountability to become your own bank. Your Flux OS, which utilizes Flux nodes, which runs our underlying infrastructure, Cumulus, Nimbus, Stratus, and Titan, and soon to be Cirrus. We got our Flux Cloud over there, and that drives our Flux Drive, Flux Marketplace, and WordPress. These two areas can can work together to get to the next level. I don't see Flux coming in and completely dismantling Web 2 unless there's a major critical event where we need it to, and then the resources are there to make it happen. So this is a big deal. This is the structure. This bridges the gap. So this shows you why our ecosystem had to be developed as it was and why it has taken us so long to get to this point. People don't always remember what you say or how you act, but they do remember how you make them feel. And if they show up and there's anxiety, there's confusion, there's something that looks different, and these feelings in this front end, back end, then we're all kind of screwed, right? So we had once you've built something, we want these people to come back time and time again. Anyone that sits there and tells you that retail is alive and DePIN is a fucking liar. Retail has not entered the space. Let me say it again. Retail hasn't entered the space, people, because we haven't built it well enough till this point for them to enter the space. Almost 90%, well, maybe not 90, let's say 80%. 80% of our customers that are coming are enterprise-based customers that want a bigger, faster, stronger, cheaper, right? And now decentralized. Once retail influx starts to come in, and by the way, we're building the pieces in to make that happen, then you're going to see some real movement in the space. So anybody that's out there telling you that they're seeing growth and movement and retail adoption of DePIN, they're full of crap. You've got speculators and enterprise at this point. So those are all good pieces. Flux AI would probably flow under the edge Flux Core ecosystem right over there. So, but that's a good point. We could probably add that in there if we wanted.
I take note of it.
So Flux Cloud helps you build decentralized applications, increase your flexibility, your scalability, and your censorship resistance. Out of all of these, flexibility is nice, right? I want to be able to use it and use it effectively. Scalability is nice. Anything can be scalable, but is it intuitive? Is it an intuitive scalable or is it dog shit? We don't know. So, for us, we had to make it so it's intuitive scalable. But the biggest area for me is censorship resistance. I think we've seen this perpetually over the past 4 years. The deplatforming and removal of people because they don't like your political affiliation. They don't like what you've said. They don't like, you as a person. This is not how we as a human race should be treated. We should have the freedom of speech. We should have the freedom to own our own fucking data. That should be ours, right? And they've put us in this box that we have to get out of. And the only way to do that is to create code that basically takes that power from their hands. And that's exactly what Flux has done. And how has it done it? With redundancy. It's, redundant applications ensure no single point of failure. Security, integration with Docker Hub, IPFS, added security layers, and now our Arcane system that's coming out, which is end-to-end encryption. Big shout out to Vulture and his team for what they're working on there. That's next level shit. Our full OS. So we're not going to be, using a Linux. Well, I could be based on Linux, but it's our own operating system, end-to-end encryption across the board. It lets you make sure that your data stays your data and nobody else is getting to it. Interoperability. We've put a lot of focus on interchain operability, working with other platforms. Our parallel assets are a perfect example of that. You could definitely see us moving as blockchains start to be developed in the medical space and the financial space to integrate those pieces, build that interchain operability, create the railways that will drive Web3 and DePIN. Decentralization. Dude, this is it. This is where it's at. This is my jam. Our platform leverages blockchain chain technology to offer decentralized identity without the need for KYC, ensuring censorship-resistant developments. Now, this is important, guys, and I've said this before. Tucker Carlson just did he had Roger Ver on, which was so cringe, I about threw up. But long story short is they talk about the privacy of crypto, and Tucker didn't realize that Bitcoin was completely transparent. Open source Bitcoin-based products are completely transparent, people. Now, that doesn't mean there can't be privacy-based applications built and developed on Flux, but decentralization is about making sure that nobody can be deplatformed. So, although I disagree with 99% of what Roger Ver says, I agree with the 1%, and that is we are being disrupted by folks that are trying to take over the actual technology, the underlying stacks. So decentralization is what fixes that. Our Watchtower, which allows us to do automatic pools. If you're a node operator, Watchtower is a lifesaver, right? It allows you to run this infrastructure a little bit more seamlessly, and it's a big deal. And the big one, affordability. We are pennies on the dollar. As a matter of fact, we have lost customers because they couldn't wrap their mind around the savings that they would have had moving from an AWS who charges, massive fees and egress to us who charges very little fees and no egress. So they just couldn't figure out how we could do it. So like I explained it multiple times, and finally, after a period of a few months, they came back and they said, we figured it out. We're interested. So we started talking to them. So, it's almost, it almost seems like it's one of those things like it's too good to be true, but it's really not, because the compute resources have been incentivized from the beginning. All we're doing is connecting the people that have it to the people that need it. Boom. Together. And that becomes a very affordable, scalable. And by the way, Flux has 99.999% uptime over the past 7 years. I want you to think about that. Stop what you're doing and think about that. 99.999% uptime in 7 years. The blockchain has not stopped. So we did have a fork between somewhere in there. So that's the 0.00001. Okay. But that's pretty amazing. So that builds redundancy in your applications. It builds scalability in your applications, interoperability, so on and so forth. So these are the important pieces. So what does that look like? Like, how does Flux Cloud distinguish itself by offering a more competitive pricing model and its counterparts in cloud computing industry? So take a look at this. We're just going to go straight for the money shot. We're going for the big mamma jamma. 8 V cores, 32 gigs of memory, and 100 gigs of infrastructure. On AWS for 3 servers, because essentially that's what we do, we deploy 3 servers, you'd pay about $861. Or on Google, I'm sorry. Now on AWS, you're at about $448 plus egress, $668 for Microsoft, and that does not include egress. I think the only one that includes egress is us.
Yes.
Okay.
And we are the only one who gives you 3 servers for redundancy with load balancing.
Redundancy, right? So when I'm a business and I'm looking at that, I'm like, what the hell? That's crazy, right? So cool shit, man. Like, this speaks out of all the slides we've ever created and shared with anybody that was looking at the project. This one is probably the one that resonates the most. We have a freaking amazing plethora of 2,000 plus applications. I think 25,000 deployments. So we've got, Minecraft, TeamSpeak. We'll talk a lot about our games later. We run Bitcoin nodes. You name it, we do it. One of the ones in the middle, the knitter, I really like that. That's a really kind of cool thing. It's like the anti-X, gets rid of a lot of shit you don't want to see. Our project showcases our Minecraft servers. So our Minecraft servers are available for easy and quick hosting. Yeah, your Minecraft server will be running on 3 instances simultaneously. This is important because if I'm a gamer who happens to be building a world with my community, I don't want to see that world all of a sudden gone one day when you wake up. So Minecraft, you're getting about 1 gig, 1.4 cores, 1 gig of RAM, and 15 gigs of SSD for $299 a month with 3 instances. That is fucking unheard of. That is,
you can't even buy a coffee for that anymore.
You can't even buy a coffee, Davey. By the way, I gotta drink some of this coffee.
Yeah, you take a break there for a sec. Soon enough, by the way, we will have Minecraft servers for Bedrock as well. So if you're playing on Xbox and all that, you'll be able to play Minecraft as well on Flux.
Wait a minute.
My kids have.
You're telling me that you'll be able to run on Xbox? You'll be able to run Bedrock servers deployed on Flux?
Yeah. You'll be playing your Minecraft on Xbox on a Flux server. My kids have been playing and testing it, so kudos to my test team. We're good to go there.
I must have missed that one. I must have been sleeping in that meeting. That's amazing. I can't wait. Why haven't we promoted that? That's like a big fucking deal, dude. Is it just because we're waiting for the release?
Well, I waited for you to not leak it, so I leaked it now.
Well, you'll be waiting a long time because I'll get it as soon as I get it. I'm gonna leak it. It's gonna be all over X today. Product showcase, folding at home. We wanted to make sure that we showcased, some of the things we could do. So we started our folding at home competition, which was really awesome. We deployed everyone. Deployment is running on 3 instances, and you can do a folding at home for 1 core, 700 megs of RAM, and 3 gigs of solid state drive. And you can give back to to society. I mean, this is why we build this technology, right? Is to help humanity. This is a great way to do it. We deployed originally, we deployed all our entire infrastructure on Folding when they began to map the COVID-19 genomic structure. So, you know, for us, it was an awesome opportunity for us to fire it out there, and we did, and it really was awesome in the end.
I love that the guy, his monitor was sitting on top of the Python book.
Yeah, because that's about where it belongs.
That's really old school. I used to do that too with my Cisco books back in the day.
People out there that still program in Python, if you can believe that. Seed Studio. These are some of our partnerships. The NVIDIA Inception program. We got some exciting stuff happening with NVIDIA as we grow. Lumen, OVH, Contabo, RKE2, Swiss. Did I say it right, Davey?
No, not even remotely close.
Susie?
Closer?
Sussy? Suspect? What is it?
Susa.
I don't know why I can never pronounce it.
But you're fine if you say Sus or Susie. They don't shoot me when I do it, so far we're good.
And then, of course, Ubuntu, which is a big one. So here's our 2024 highlights. What did we do this year, right? So we're looking back. So on Flux Edge, next generation cloud, Flux Cloud is an extensive suite. These are just a breakdown of what the products are. I'm not going to read through all these. You guys can grab these at some particular point in time. I'll just buzz through them. Flux Cloud is the actual cloud that runs, the infrastructure. Flux Edge is our cutting edge decentralized GPU marketplace. Flux AI. If you haven't tried Flux AI out yet, I don't know what to tell you, man. What's the URL, Davey?
ai.runonflux.com.
Yeah, it used to be something different. It was like Flux
or
AI.
fluxai.app.
Yeah.
Either or.
So, take some time and check it out. And like
it's so fast.
And we have a lot. It's lightning fast. It's unlike any other one out there. So, I know there are other platforms like Grok that's talking about going to a free model. We don't necessarily believe in the end that'll be the outcome. There'll be a pro version as well, but we'll talk about that when we get to the Flux AI. Zelcore, which is a wallet, SSP, which is a wallet, Echo Wallet, which we have recently acquired and continue to build out. We'll actually talk about that a little today. Coin Request, which continues to grow. We're building that out as well. And then we have Flux Pools as well, which is our pools for Flux. So let's talk about Flux OS Cloud. So new primary, secondary solutions for decentralized PDC. We added SSP Wallet Connect and MetaMask as signing options, which is a big deal. So now you don't have to necessarily be hemmed into Zelcore or any one particular platform. You can use Wallet Connect, MetaMask, for SSP, whatever you'd like to use, or SSP. Enhanced home UI experience. We optimize primary, secondary instance assignments, and the Flux daemon updates as well we pushed. FDM, Flux Domain Manager updates. So the FDM is our version of the name registry. Am I saying that right, Davey? Our name registry. So it allows us to be able to put an application and tie it directly to you as the deployment person, and basically aligns it back to Web 2. So it's a big deal. Major backup features and restore capabilities. Our goal is out of the box. We want to have a continuity plan for people that are deploying. Most of them can't afford a full backup and redundancy. With Flux, you get that out of the box. So our goal is to create those DRP plans for that people could build it, and you wouldn't have to sacrifice operational technology for security technology, or to secure your business's data. Our WordPress full release, which continues to keep growing. New applications on our Flux marketplace. We had Flux OS version 5, which introduced our fiat payment model of Stripe, and PayPal, and USD. We are going to be adding other currency pairings, I believe, to that as well. So I think you can manually change the currency pairings. I think you can pay in pounds and yen or whatever.
We show it in USD, but if you're in the UK or for me in Canada, and we haven't talked about the weather, but it's cold up here. Please send help.
I Oh, that's okay. We're gonna, U.S. is coming to liberate.
Yeah, 51st state. I heard you guys. We're good. Yeah. But we show it in USD, of course, on the website. But if you go pay for it, it'll use your currency of your own choosing, of course. So
yeah,
all good.
So big deal there. That makes it very easy for someone to budget in, because we want to make sure for our enterprise folks that they don't have to budget in the asset. And by the way, everything that settles in fiat automatically settles to Flux anyway. So we're just basically market buying once a month, whatever comes through there. It's incremental at this time because obviously we've been in alpha and beta, but as that continues to keep growing, we'll make sure that is a published address where you can see the inflows and the outflows and where it's going. You'll be able to see that it's direct purchase. We're worked with a fairly large exchange to do direct purchasing, which makes it nice. I call it basically passive market making. The community is buying services, which helps to make our books, which is nice. Symbiotic, man. Let's live this world together. SSO integration. So a big part of Web 2 is SSO, and we believe that get people over to Web 3, we have to have that functionality as well. So we did add our SSO integration. And I know we hear this shit. Why do you use SSO? It's centralized. Well, you can use Zelcore, you can use SSP, you can use whatever you want. This is for people that want to utilize the platform very seamlessly, and they give two shits about what the infrastructure is. They want the bottom line. They want a nice service that they can deploy for a good price, and it's rock solid in uptime and support. They get that way.
The way I explain it then is that's for those who don't know what crypto is, so that they can actually use Web3 without knowing they're using Web3.
Yep,
Simple as that.
That's a perfect analogy, Davey. So, for us to bridge that gap, we have to definitely spend the time to build that technology. The ability to load Docker Compose YAML files, I have no clue what the fuck that is.
That's for those technical guys. They know what that is. But basically, we make it a little, how do I say that correctly? More, man, I'm pulling a Christian Freeland here. I'm looking up to the sky, help for the birds. Basically, it's more industry standard that the industry uses that we can now also use as well.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. It sounded important. It made the presentation.
It is important.
Therefore, I knew it was important. And then our Flux Drive connections to Flux OS as well. If you haven't tried out Flux Drive, which is basically a competitor to Dropbox, highly recommend it. And we are working on some additional components with it. And by the way, once your data's made there, it's there forever, and it's yours forever, as long as you hold that private key, which is a pretty big deal. You can't say that for somebody like Dropbox. Cloud 2.0 brings Flux Marketplace V2, SSO, Stripe, and PayPal. Again, more fiat integration in all of our services to allow people for easy onboard and to the ecosystem. Again, settled in Flux. This is a dynamic infrastructure, so we want to make sure our utility asset has the best value it can get, and we make sure that in the end everything resolves to Flux. Flux Drive updates, Flux nodes stream chain feature. David, do you even know what the stream change feature is?
No.
Yeah, me either. It sounds amazing, though.
I feel sometimes they're starting to treat me like you, Dan, where I'm being excluded from certain meetings so that I don't leak anything.
It probably was used as a different name, and then now they changed it on the presentation.
Yeah.
It totally confuses me. I went over this last night, and I didn't notice it, so it's all good. Today, is there somebody from the tech team? If you're in the chat, just throw up.
I think it's to speed up. They'll correct me, but I think it's to speed up synchronizing your node when it goes.
That's it. You're right. That's it. You got it. Well done. Flux Cloud servers live on SimpleX Chat v62. This is huge. Flux is now a native deployment inside of SimpleX Chat. Decentralized now. Obviously there's some centralized components with it. As you grow things, you have to build those pieces out, but it is pretty damn impressive. Check it out if you haven't. Flux Edge and Flux Core.
I'm going to add one thing that's not mentioned on that slide, and that a lot of people don't always know it's the fact, and I see that sometimes pop up on X and such. There is no approval process at the moment for your application to get hosted on Flux.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way that it should be. We did have at one particular point in time, we did have, you had to submit a
The
pull.
whitelisting.
Yeah, you had a whitelisting. That's has since been removed. Worked with the lawyers, good terms of service. Just because it's decentralized doesn't mean it's lawless. If you build Silk Road on Flux, that you will be found. Don't do that.
Don't go abusing the system.
Yeah. So Flux Core beta release, Flux Core web release, Flux Edge local storage, Flux Edge fiat deposits. Super, super self-explanatory. Moved into beta, popped our web release. We got our local storage piece in place, and now now the fiat deposits have been enabled. Argo CD developments, custom development. So you can do customized deployments now. Email notifications, which is nice to know if your job is done or if there's issues or when it's confirmed. So email notifications were needed, and Flux Core cluster management. At some point in time, Flux Core will become one with Flux Edge. We'll have the Flux Edge, Flux Edge mining software, Flux Edge, end user compute. I don't necessarily know we'll keep both of those names in perpetuity, but I think, we definitely want to consider unification on that someday. Flux AI, which blows my mind. Like every day when I look at this stuff or I see what Daz is doing, it totally freaks me out, man. Like this is some amazing shit, and we're a lot different than other AI platforms out there, and I'll explain to you why.
I heard this rumor this week that some big GPT thing was down. I had no issue with my Flux AI was running. I'm not sure what was going on.
No problem. Zero issues whatsoever. So
they must be using a bad product or something. I don't know.
We've had over 1 million tokens soon after launch. We're super fast interface at over 145 tokens a second. That's a big deal. If you know AI, that's huge. Global GPU load balancing systems and our Flux Code Assist. If you haven't used that, I played around with it the other day for a piece that I was building for a website. Just playing around with it. And I don't code. And I was able to fairly easily code something up and get it to work, which is kind of, for me, is absolutely amazing. We have a system here. It's called the Dan effect. If Dan can use it and he can play with it, then more than likely it's ready for release and retail. Because if it's going to break, I'm going to break it. FluxBot, which is fully trained expert bot, in-depth knowledge of Flux. So you can go in there, you can ask it questions. How do I deploy a node? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it'll bring your questions back. We have seen a dramatic decrease in service desk time and responses as we've rolled this out because people can answer their own questions now. And as we move through with the redesign on several of the websites, this is the FluxBot will be an integral part of support models there. Flux One, what a juggernaut. What a flippin' juggernaut. And it's kind of funny because we're Flux ONE. Flux One is the platform that developed out the imaging infrastructure that we put in there.
I think it's Flux.1 or something, right?
I think it's Flux.1. And they're pretty cool dudes, by the way. I could see us working with them in the future. Hardcore. I like their ethos. They're kind of like me, anti-establishment. Yeah, we might make money at some point in time, but it's really about sticking it to the man, and they love that shit. So I'm all about that. 10 free monthly images, public gallery. You have art competitions and AI tutorials. We just recently finished up our API, so you get $1 free credit when you log in. AI chat and image endpoints. We are working on our document intelligence now. Rumor has it it's in beta behind the scenes. And if you're not sure what rumor has it,
yeah,
like I was just told yesterday that was the case. So good shit there. That documents intelligence will basically level the playing field. It'll put us, it's fairly even with the other programs out there. We created an ambassador affiliate fee. Every product inside of the Flux ecosystem will get an ambassador affiliate fee. So we are going to let you guys mine with your minds. If you go out and you refer somebody to use Flux AI, you're going to get a cut of that. If you go out and get them to use Zelcore, you're going to get a cut of that. If we are capitalizing on our strongest asset, and that is our community. You are our sales team, and you will now be incentivized for that as well. So you get a 20% referral commission for targeting influencers with large following as well. So if you can get Flux AI in front of an influencer who shows it online, we'll pay you there too. So you guys should be championing what we're doing, and we'll build this technology for you. So it all works together.
Yeah, there's an entire the ambassador program will be rolling out soon enough, and then you guys can basically refer your friends.
Zelcore is surging. If you haven't been watching what's happening with Zelcore, we've been developing a lot of cool stuff around that. So our fiat to crypto on ramp, we've added more support for more blockchains. We heard the community; they wanted more blockchains, so we've started adding them in droves. We did our rebranding, our new logo, our new UI, and we integrated seed phrases, which is, I believe it's 12-word seed phrases, and we're getting ready to release 24. So you can set up a seed phrase, 12, 24, or you can do your username, password, your higher HD wallet, your higher deterministical wallets, which is they call it a brain wallet, or it's basically your seed phrase, your username and password. SHA-256 encryption, bam, there it is. Okay. So we've done that. So there's more than one way. We will be working on rolling out another version of Zelcore Pro in the new year, but it isn't going to be just directly limited to Zelcore itself. It's going to traverse our entire ecosystem, which I'm really super excited with. So it's going to be awesome. Support for BIP44 addresses. Claiming all parallel. This was one that we got beat up on. I want to claim all my PAs to main chain. Like, I love what you're doing, but I'm not going to trade shit coins. I just want it in main chain because I'm going to run infrastructure. So we did one-click claiming for all PAs, which was really kind of cool. Wallet Connect enhancements and our crypto to fiat off-ramp is now available as well. SSP, rocking it as well. So lots of movement over there. It released, I can't believe it's only been a year. It feels like it's been a lifetime. We introduced this thing at Cypherpunk, and it came to life this year. So we got around roughly 800 weekly active users. Those are people that are actively involved with it. It can be 10,000 users. To give you a perspective, we're very early on with SSP. Zelcore has about close to 1 million active users, roughly, give or take. Weekly active users, your dailies in the 40, 50,000. Your monthly is, higher yet. So, we've got a long ways to go to build SSP out and get it adopted. Schnorr multi-sig addresses on Ethereum. The Ethereum Foundation attempted to build this and failed, and Flux built this. Let me reiterate this. The multi-billion-dollar foundation that has more developers and more resources than God could not build this. And Vitalik asked for it to be done, and Tadeusz and team built it. Pretty fucking impressive. Export your transaction. Taxes, baby. Pay your taxes. They love your taxes. So export to CVS. We've expanded to token support. Initially, we were just going to do it for, our main chains, the Flux, the Bitcoins, the Litecoins, proof of work projects. But the tokens, people wanted to put tokens on there, so we started adding that ability. They like the security. They like the use of interface, and we need more assets. Support for more languages, custom token imports, and Brave browser compatibility. Other key milestones. Eco Wallet acquisition. So we picked up Eco Wallet. We saw a need in the community Many people know that we have a pretty good relationship with the Cadena folks. And we realized that this would be very impactful on the people that were in the Cadena ecosystem if Echo Wallet went away. So I jumped in the 11th hour and we saved it, Echo Wallet. We moved it over, and now we're going to expand it. So we've already talked with Cadena, and I might be talking out of church here, but the reality of it is Cadena's going to work with us as well. We'll have somewhat of a partnership we can foster around building the Echo Wallet out. They have about 30,000 active users. That's pretty impressive when you think about it. It is one of the larger KDA wallets. So for us, it made sense for us to take it, adapt it, build it out. So we will work with the Cadena proper ecosystem to help us, get some roadmap there. We bought Flux Runner. If we're going to talk about Flux Runner in a second, this is a huge thing. We have tried to do granting processes in the past, and very few people take us up on these because it's hard work. So what we've started to do is look at projects that are building appropriately on the platform, on the Flux platform, and injecting capital into the ones that we believe will be winners. Influx, the company, looks at that and says, hey, who's building what? Flux Runner was a fucking no-brainer. It is a easy way to onboard for WordPress. It is, for all intents and purposes, it completely alleviates the user gap, and allows the regular retail people to deploy. So our goal in this next year is to increase our WordPress footprint 10x. And we can easily do that. If you're listening to this and you run websites, you need to be running them on Flux. If you know somebody that runs websites, you need to be running them on Flux. And that's where Flux Runner comes into play. So we did buy Flux Runner, and God, I always mess his name up. Orno came on board, who is the guy that helped build it out. It was his brainchild. And we were super lucky. He came to us and he said, I want to be working with the best of the best. And, we worked a deal out, and we were able to purchase the product and immediately deploy it. So check it out. We'll talk a little bit more.
It is really easy. I've used it myself now. So Jeff Key blog will come back online soon enough as well. I've used it myself. You don't even realize you're using Web3 in the back end.
No, it's very seamless.
It looks and feels like another provider, and you're like, oh, run my website here. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and so we'll talk about it here in a sec too. But we actually have formed the Flux Foundation. So we have talked about the foundation in the past and how that would work. The Flux Foundation will be its own unique entity. I will not be part of it. None of the founders will be part of it. Nobody that works at Influx will be part of it. And as a matter of fact, we have our first board member, and that's Kaiser McLean, who also helped pen this book, who is a huge fan of the ecosystem and has a background in business. We have a new board member. We just are getting ready to extend an invitation. Actually works for Fox, like Fox TV, stuff like that. So we're going to get people in that board that are going to bring value adds outside of what we're doing in Influx. And people say, well, is the foundation funded? The foundation is unbelievably funded. And we'll have actual statistics on our first presentation for the foundation. I'll be there for the very first one, and then I'm out of it. Our goal is to make this thing run by itself, support us in every way, shape possible. It is in Texas. We are incorporated in Texas as a nonprofit. And we'll talk a lot about that when we do our foundation presentation in January. So our goal is to have everything ready to go for the community in January, because we'll have an XDAO presentation in that as well. So our goal is to continue to keep building out. A good way for the foundation to grow is for good senior leaders to come in there. We have some legal that's coming in, business leaders, medical people. These are all folks who are going to help drive the value add. We've had listings, Bitvado, HTX, the ERC20, Whitebit, Binance Futures, Bybit Futures, CoinCatch Perpetual, Let's Exchange, and Kraken Pro. Yeah, that's all cool and everything, but give me Kraken. That's what I want. So, big awards. The World Future Award. We were a top 100 company in crypto and blockchain. We were in great company. There was PayPal. There was Chainalysis. There was, major players in not only the tech space, but in other areas. Our 2024 Stratus Award for Cloud Computing, we received an award for new emerging cloud compute solutions, which was awesome. We became an official vendor for the UK Crown with their new G Cloud initiative. And no, it's not Google, it's G Cloud. That's what they use for their what is it? Their pricing
government cloud or something. I don't know what it's called.
So we're there. And of course, we released Decentralizing the Future, the Story of Flux and the Rise of Web3. Again, this book is killer, guys. And I'm not just saying that because I helped write it. It's good. It is. It helps you fall down the rabbit hole. 2024 partnerships. We've really worked a lot with, these folks, Tempe, 3DS, Nice Hash. We're getting ready to release another little piece of Nice Hash stuff that we're working on. Mizzle, Swazi, I don't know. Whatever that thing is. IFC, Yum, Kite Rocket, Uphold, Alephium 3 Protocol, Akash. We've been working with them guys a little bit. We had our 2024 concert, our conferences and sponsorship. We were the official sponsor of the DC Defenders and the Battlehawk. It was our first kind of go at that. We really liked it. We enjoyed it. We're kind of up in the air whether we'll continue it this next year. We may look to do something more mainstream. Like, this was a great experience for us because the majority of the Battlehawk games pulled down better views than even some of the NBA games. So it's kind of cool. We went to the NVIDIA GTC event. We are gold sponsor of Token 2024 in Dubai. We had our GBA event down in Washington, D.C. We do a lot with the GBA. Official sponsor of the Global Blockchain Alliance Blockchain Showcase. Headed down to All Things Open. Went to our Bitcoin conference in Nashville, and we had Cypherpunk 2024 meetup. We will be having a Cypherpunk 2025. We're working on the venue. There'll be 2 of them, one in the U.S. and one in the U.K. So, wait a minute. Was it the U.K. we talked about, Davey? I can't remember what Caroline said.
I believe you said London.
London, I believe it was. Fairly easy for people in Europe to get to. So we're thinking London or somewhere like that. We went to the AI Summit in London, Mazzari Mainnet, NeoFest and NioFest in Birmingham, UK, DePIN Day in Seattle, RSNA in Chicago. Consensus, God, we were everywhere. Consensus 2024, SwissCon 2024 in Berlin, ETHCC, Sim24, annual meeting in Maryland. I don't know what that is. So our key milestones going into Q1, Q2 of 2025. So now we're talking about the future, okay? So at the end of this, I'm going to say 2024 was probably a watershed year for this project. It created opportunities that I never in my life would have dreamed of. Just the fact we have Flux AI and these other components that honestly came out of nowhere. And the nice thing about it is, if you've been here long enough, you've heard me give the story as we built a delivery framework, right? When Amazon started selling books, everybody scoffed at them because they're like, who's going to buy their books online? But what Amazon was building was a delivery model. It didn't matter if you dropped books or socks or power tools, whatever, you could sell it effectively in this framework. And that's exactly what Flux has done. We've built a delivery framework, a decentralized delivery framework, so that when products are offered up or technology changes, we immediately adopt that technology because the infrastructure was already in play. So when AI, ChatGPT comes out, we deployed, let's say a year, maybe in 8 months after, the full release candidate of ChatGPT, we're already deploying our version, and building on it. Why? Because we have the infrastructure in place and we can use it ourselves. So we become an Amazon of blockchain because our framework is in place. New asset, no problem. New product, no problem. New infrastructure, no problem. New technology, no problem. Decentralized, scalable, open source, highly available, all the good things. So what's our key milestones moving into 2025? On Flux OS, Project Arcane, one of the projects I am the most excited about. This is end-to-end encryption on all things running on your infrastructure. Flux node operators will no longer be able to access anything that resides on those particular, because it will be encrypted across the board. So this changes the complexities. And by the way, this is already being tested with a fairly large client that we're working with. And no, Davey, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a very large client that needs to have highly available, highly scalable, highly redundant, fast, quick, low latency, low ping time, almost like a game that would run on. So we're working on that. Project Arcane is a big piece on that, right? So we got our application specific.
Arcane is absolutely required for them.
Yeah.
And so Arcane is in beta internally, so we're that close. We're really I'm really excited about this. This is a game changer. This is the next level for us to really go after a lot of other type of customers. This one is big. Really big.
And this is the thing that we didn't try to get these customers. And as a matter of fact, we hadn't built the structure that they would require. They came to us, and we kind of customized this in a way. We were working on it, but we changed the approach we were doing it specifically to be able to utilize them. So, how do I say this? Anyway, no, we'll skip that. Application specific V8 version 8. So application specific specifications, progressive node rewards. So Arcane. Then the next thing that I'm like pumping about is progressive node rewards. For my miners in the house, right? You know what a difficulty adjustment is. You're mining. Now all of a sudden he's mining, she's mining, he's mining, she's mining, he's mining. And that difficulty starts to elevate. Why does it do that? Because it allows your network to scale appropriately. We are going to do the exact opposite for our node structure. As the demand begins to increase on our nodes and our on Flux Edge on our GPUs, as the demand increases, your node reward structure increases as well. So in higher peak times, you're going to make more than times where you're not. And it will adjust just like that difficulty curve. It will know exactly. So we're essentially, it's reverse engineering a difficulty algorithm, right? And we're going to apply it as the demand increases, the rewards increase. So progressive node rewards is a big deal. And this, many people have asked, because, we got a halving coming up in 2025. What's that's going to look like? Price, whatever. I don't fucking care. But we have to incentivize the people that are deploying the infrastructure, keep them there, and reward the ones that have uptime that fit our needs and fit the demands of the network. So PNR, which is what I refer to, progressive node rewards, is huge. And I am done with that white paper. I'm like 99% close to what it is. And I've already started to work with. So load balancing for reward side. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yes. So that basically allows people to not go through these ebbs and flows of ups and downs as miners. You come to the network, you stay on the network, and you'll be rewarded as those upticks. And by the way, we'll bring from any network. You can mine Raven and still participate. You can mine Ergo and still participate. You can mine, whatever. I don't think KDA is available on GPU much anymore, but you get the idea. And then our other big one, which I just started to allude to, was Flux Gaming. We have a hold on, Davey. I gotta take a drink, dude. I love to talk, but this is about,
you're in 1 hour and a half at this point. So,
and we're up thousands of people watching this. So well done. I like it. Progressive no rewards, and then our Flux Gaming area. So we'll talk a little bit about Flux Gaming in a second. That's the second. So we're starting out with, Grand Theft Auto, Team Fortress, 7 Days to Die, Minecraft, Ark, Factor, Pal World, Rust, and Shroud, and more games coming soon. But we're gonna put a real solid list of games together, and we are going to start going after the gaming infrastructure. If you're gamers out there, there's nothing more frustrating than when a cool new game comes out, launch day, and you get shit mixed. You can't get on the servers. You can't log in. It's glitchy. It doesn't run right. Flux fixes this. It allows you to deploy infrastructure for months if need be and scale off appropriately. So we are definitely looking at improving the experience that you get with the gaming infrastructure. Most people won't understand that. Gamers will understand that. People that want low ping times, quick replies, geolocation, so that my node that I'm gaming on isn't sitting in Europe and I'm sitting in the US. These are all really important things as we grow. And we will be launching our gaming portal. It will look like this. We'll have, all the major games that we've deployed on here. We'll be able to go in and simply deploy yourself. So you'll have all the, Minecraft, Bedrock, which you can run on, Xbox 360 now, apparently, which I didn't know, which is pretty awesome. Does that work on PlayStation too? Like
anything that uses Bedrock. So PC, Xbox, I think even
because
iPad.
PS5.
Yeah, iPad as well. So
I got a PS5, so I don't know what.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would
Mention. Okay. So this is what that looks like. We'll make it super easy and simple. There'll also obviously be a referral section in this as well. You get a large player, you're going to get paid. Flux Edge and Flux Core. Flux Edge full release, finally out of beta. January 1 it starts. We're targeting the end of January for every product in the Flux ecosystem to be out of beta or alpha. Every product. Keep that in mind. Quake Arena is killer on that. I've played that for a while. I love Quake. Premium machines, local storage. We got to pay the tax man, right? So if you're deploying, you're going to need to pay your VAT taxes. So we'll have VAT tax integration and Argo CD deployment. That's specifically around workflows. That's one of the biggest requested pieces from enterprise folks is those workflows because they need those. Kubernetes works as basically a choreographer. So this allows you to be a choreographer. What the hell is the
orchestrator?
Orchestrator.
The choreographer is actually nice too. I like that.
You have to choreograph it. Okay. So anyway, long story short is it allows you to schedule those things, and that's a big deal for it.
I see somebody saying, I don't want to pay taxes. None of us do.
Avatar, pay your damn taxes. You don't want to be like Roger Ver and facing 109 years.
What's the saying in the U.S.? There's one reality.
2 guarantees: death and paying taxes. Okay, so we talked about that stuff. Let's go on to the next page. Dual mining on Flux Core. That's been a big one. So the ability to dual mine, utilize your graphics cards to their max capacity when they're in idle time. So whether that's mining, dual mining, whatever it is that you'd like to do while you're waiting for proof of use to work. Our rendering service, we are about to shit mix every product out there with rendering. You're going to do it faster, quicker, stronger, you name it. And because of the way we've set it up, every product out there, and mark my words, and I'm going to say it here, and I normally don't bring other projects up, we will shit mix render. We will shit mix every other product out there that's creating rendering services. Why? Because we have the power, we have the network, and we have the affordability. This changes the game. We are your one-stop shop. AI, rendering, edge compute, right here it is. So big deal, big deal. Our referral program for demos and user engagement. So we will be working on a 20% referral platform. That means somebody that's a heavy hitter out there that knows people in the technology space. You're going to make some money by doing some referrals. And your external storage, your S3 compatibility for third-party providers. That's a big deal. That S3 compatibility is huge. And we will be working, maybe it says it up here, we will be working on our certifications as well over the next year and a half. We'll talk a little bit about our auditing as well at the end. Flux Edge pricing V2 with dynamic adjustments and committed rental discounts. If you commit to rental long-term, you're going to get discounted rates. So we're going to incentivize people for coming to the space and deploying on the space and remaining on the space. And on the other side of the fence, we're deploying the people who are coming to the space, deploying infrastructure on the space, and being rewarded for that as well. So this symbiotic relationship really comes into full play. Automated invoice payments, that's huge. So it'll automatically invoice for services. Obviously, for enterprise, that's a big deal. Security and compliance enhancements. This is another one. Everybody listen. Every product in the Flux ecosystem will be audited in the first quarter into the second quarter of 2025. Every product from the beginning to the end, it will be audited across the board. We've done audits as we've gone progressively. We've never delved in to an audit across the entire ecosystem. So, big shout outs to Tadeusz and what he has worked on with this. This is a big fucking deal. This gives us all the credibility that we've worked for. It takes away any of the arguments that people say about, well, what about my data, or what about this, or what about that? So you're going to see awesome results and publicly announced and publicly shared results on our audits, which is cool. Flux Edge shared compute usage for CPU and GPU rentals. Dual mining and customizable mining configurations for Flux Core. Premium machines from more providers. That's a big one. What does that mean? You just kind of throw it in there. That means we've already worked with major players. And the matter of fact, one of these guys has a better part of 200,000 graphics cards sitting fairly idle that he will be bringing to Flux Marketplace.
Yes, and before anyone jumps on it, I know we've said that before, but the pieces need to come together first before we can bring them all online.
Well, the incentivization of it all. I mean, you can't ask a guy to bring his graphics cards and not incentivize them. So PNR is going to help with that. A lot of different pieces as well. But the marketplace is exactly that. We've got trusted partners. You'll be able to get infrastructure. We'll be able to provide infrastructure, and that's what it comes down. It's a big fucking deal. Enhanced tools for providers and interface. Flux AI for development. I believe it's already in a closed alpha working. Our documents intelligent. Our Flux AI Discord bot will continue to be built out, and our Flux AI bot trained on Flux data. So we're going to eventually take our data that we've accumulated over the years and feed it back into our Flux AI bot for, you can come into Flux AI and say, show me a video on how to deploy a Flux node. Well, wouldn't it be nice if there was an article out there and it broke the video down for you, or there's a repository of data so it's super easy to do? That's exactly what we're working on. It takes our support model beyond what it looks like in Web 2, and it really puts that unbelievable integration. And by the way, this is one of the first ways Flux AI is going to make some major waves in the industry, because we're changing the support paradigm around technology projects. So this is essentially what Flux AI looks like. The question, you got AI in the middle, you get the answer, your context, document intelligent engine, and documents on the backside. So why is document intelligence important? I can take a contract, which by the way I have done, and I can plug it into Flux AI, and I can say, tell me the bullet points that I need to know about this contract. And it will provide me an in-depth document stating what the terms are of the contract, what I need to look at, what I need. Now, granted, it's not legal advice, but it does give me the ability to understand things that I wouldn't necessarily, I would spend hours looking at. Now I can condense this, and I can ask questions about specific areas where I have questions, and it frees up a lot of time for the users. Documents intelligence by far is one of the biggest things, and we're getting ready to roll that out. Zelcore, our browser extension, expanded support for more blockchains, expanded on and off ramp features, enhanced swap capabilities, new website, and new UI UX. So we're going all in on Zelcore. We believe, talking with the people that use the platform, that it is one of the easier to use platforms in the space. It offers, I think, a unique perspective that it doesn't put any one emphasis in one particular area other than decentralization and privacy. It allows you to have NFTs. It allows you to have, Flux, Fusion, Swap, our parallel assets. It still becomes our gateway. So we're still going all in on this bad boy, which means there'll be lots of redesigns. We are going to put a lot of focus around, self-custody and decentralization. The username password, the HD wallet side of the world, will eventually kind of go to what we call pro. So don't use this unless you know what you're doing. And then your 12 and 24 seed phrase will be your front end with a username and password that's stored locally as well to get you in. So lots of cool stuff coming down the pike. With Zelcore, we're going all in on that. And of course, we'll expand it to our partners as well. We'll have our multi-OS wallet. The nice thing about Zelcore is it's available everywhere. Mobile, desktop, Apple, Linux, Unix, whatever. It's everywhere. Not Unix, Linux. It's available everywhere. SSP wallet, again, all in. Multi-chain expansion, our fiat onboarding, our SSP mobile wallet. For Fusion Exchange. And by the way, this timeline is going to be put on the website, so you guys will be able to go back and see the roadmap after the fact. So you don't have to memorize all this shit. Zelcore will indeed be open source. Somebody just asked that down there in the questions. Yeah, we will be open. Right now, Zelcore is about 97% open source. The only thing that's not open source is how we form our transactions. And we've done that very early on because we didn't want clones of the product, but we believe we're far enough along now that that's not an issue. So we'll be pulling the wrapper off that. The other thing is we have transparent listing process now. So if you get added to Zelcore, we charge a flat fee to get you added, and basically that covers the developer's ad time. You can obviously do it yourself and save some money. So we recommend projects that have maybe a high-end dev team that wants to do it themselves. But our goal is to allow projects to come on and board the ecosystem and not just use one particular facet. They're going to use Zelcore and SSP as their wallets. They're going to use Flux Exchange as their primary exchange. They're going to use their data repository on Flux Drive. They're going to use, their website on WordPress. You understand that all of a sudden you've basically created all these creature comforts for people in one ecosystem. So once we grab them by any one particular part of the ecosystem, we're going to get them out. And one of the things we're working on this year as well is to integrate all of these pieces to one. So you will now see Zelcore residing in FluxCore and Flux Edge. You will see SSP residing in these as well. Coin requests will now be integrated to all platforms. Flux Exchange will now be integrated to all platforms. We're tying all these pieces together and all of these products so that nobody has to leave the ecosystem. And it's a great growth model. So Fusion Exchange, this is a new one, guys. This is a new one. This is one I'm excited for. I've said it before and I say it again. What's happening right now with Coinbase is very concerning. We're watching the industry leader begin to freeze accounts. And by the way, exchanges should be like public restrooms. You go in, you do your business, you don't touch a fucking thing, and you get out, right? You shouldn't be storing $2 million on an exchange. And if you are, you're a dipshit. Don't do that. Okay? So, we need to start working on going back to basics. They start listing meme coins, it's because there's a liquidity issue, right? You go in there, you're buying GigaChad with USD, BTC, or Ethereum. They now have your quality assets, and you have a shit coin. This is a huge concern. And, you hear a lot of people out there argue that meme coins bring like a ton of value, and this isn't a meme coin hate session. But fact is this, you can't be both sides. You can't want retail adoption and retail development and shit all over them with your GigaChads, your dog coins, whatever, your Hawk Talls. I mean, what the... I'll get off of this. But long story short, Fusion Exchange becomes the bridge to all of this. It's a fully web-based with support for Wallet Connect and MetaMask. So SSP, Zelcore, MetaMask, Wallet Connect, where it'll be built for all of these. It's going to be focused on fiat and crypto on and off ramps. So you'll be able to access the on and off ramps efficiently and be able to, we have already picked partners in this space that we believe in. So we're going to be utilizing some Changely, Topper, Uphold, Crypto.com, a whole bunch of back end settlement mechanisms that will basically allow you to have this kind of like borderline centralized exchange and then have a DEX model included in that as well. So our Fusion will still be available in the Fusion suite. The PA swap will be available in Zelcore, but you can do Fusion PA swaps on this exchange, the Fusion exchange as well. So we enter full integration with PAs, full integration with coin requests, so you can send easy requests for people to pay you, invoicing structure, the whole 9 yards. We're going to focus on that, focus on more on and off ramps, more, and develop it out. If you get listed in Zelcore, you will be added to Fusion Exchange. It's not an if, it's when. So our goal is to get every proof of work product that's out there in this exchange. To do that, we need help. Well, either it's your devs adding to the platform or us doing it for you for a flat fee to make sure that you're in. So these are some big pieces. We also do that with the integration with coin requests. This is where we're closing the loop on this entire ecosystem. It's now this, a secular model. Transparent listing fees. Hey, what a fucking novel idea, exchanges. How about you just tell people what it's going to cost to add it, right? And not upcharge it out of the roof. And you know who you are, exchanges. You've made billions and billions bilking the people that deploy on your platforms. Enough is enough. So we're going to get out of that. Transparent listing fees. We're working with Davey, who's the chief guy. What's this project called? Testa AI? Telestai. Yeah, sorry. I always screw that up. Like the project too. It's kind of cool. It's very cool actually. But this is one where, hey, we're new business. We're just coming up, where we need help. Okay, how can we help you? We added into the labs. We got them into Zelcore. We're doing these things. We're going to add them to an exchange. We're going to get these pieces done for them. It becomes a more relationship balance with new projects. So you're going to have some work to do. It's not us doing all the work. It's your team and your platform that's going to be doing a lot of this work. And a realistic onboarding timeline. If you've ever worked with an exchange, it is by far the worst experience I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of bad experiences. It is nightmarish. Working with those guys is the definition of insanity. I would rather run face forward into a brick wall than have to deal with any exchange. It's just the way it is. So this takes away a lot of that bullshit. We work directly with the teams that are getting listed. We have our own regulatory guidance and compliance piece that we talk to them about as well. They're still responsible for their own regulatory structure, but we make sure that we have that. And it also combines DEXs and centralized exchanges into one place. It will support the PAs. We will be listing all proof of work projects and tokens to foster growth. They will get the first shot before anyone else. So, if you want to be added, hit us up. I believe it's sales at runonflux.com. Davey, can you check that? Make sure that's it. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
The features will include buy, sell, swap, and trade functionality, a full integration with TradingView widget, so you can do advanced metric and charting. We will be working with a partnership with TradingView at some point to do native integration, so it's just everything's natively integrated. But for now, we're just going to do, this is first version. We want to get it out there. And we'll have APIs available for seamless project integrations. Why is that important? You can use Fusion Exchange in any platform that you want to accept cryptocurrency in. So our APIs will be built. So if you're building a project, Flux Runner is a perfect example. You'll now be able to utilize our back-end infrastructure on Flux Exchange to do these things. Pretty awesome when you think about it. And this is what it looks like. This is the first version. This was a video, but I guess it doesn't play. But anyway, you can see buy sell. There's a charting feature. You can see the integrations with SSP and Zelcore. Coin requests will be over there as well. There'll be a tab. It's going to continue to keep developing, but it's super simple user interface, so anybody can use it. We try to keep our fees as low as possible. We actually use multiple providers to get the best fee across the board. So they call it float or static. You can have static or float. And you're basically looking for, okay, Flux is the cheapest on this exchange. We're going to go ahead and aggregate that. And I bought it. Done. So, and then, of course, we'll have the Fusion piece in there as well and our DEX model, which will eventually become. And we have some DEX models where we're looking at putting in there as well. Big deal. Flux Runner was a huge ad. First managed decentralized WordPress hosting, built on top of Flux Cloud, launched in November of 2024. Honor, and, I'm going to mess your name up. I'm not even going to try it, but he knows who he is.
Owner?
Yeah. What's the last name?
Ostaskiran.
Taskian. Okay. Arian. I don't know. Dude, I'm sorry if I butchered that, brother. It was acquired by Influx Technologies. This is the best way to do granting process, in my opinion, is we find projects that have already been built out and are doing something fairly unique, and we work on investing in those bad boys. So we did end up buying it. Some of the 2025 milestones coming, remote backups, remote site management, Flux Run official WordPress theme, Flux Runner official WordPress plugin. We're putting a lot of emphasis around WordPress, for obvious reasons. We believe this is a direct way. Flux Runner makes it nice and easy and simple. Honor came up with an amazing product, and I'm super happy to have him on the team now. And then there's a little UI piece as well. Additional plans, we want to work on Echo Wallage Management, our XDAO 2.0, our Cypher 2.0, 2 cypherpunks. So one in Europe, one in the States, which would be cool. I think the one in the States is going to be... No, it's not in the States. I think we're going to do it in Canada, right, Davey? We talked about Toronto, I think. XDAO.
Yeah. Well, we were not sure yet.
XDAO 2.0 and cypherpunk. So now I get to close. So you can take that down, Davey. Let's go full screen. There we go. So, I hate to break this to go back to X because we've got like 3,000 people live plus. So we may just do our little AMA here and then try the X space for next go round. So that's a lot of information to take in. I'll post this presentation today in the Discord. Also maybe throw out a link on X so that people can get to it. I want you to use this. I want you to keep it. Make it your little Bible, your reference points for some of the things we're doing. We'll also make sure we get this roadmap up on the website. So in the end, right, it comes down to this. Is your project building something unique? Is it building something that fixes a problem? Is it creating a new ecosystem for the betterment of mankind? If you say no to any one of those things, you're in a shitcoin. Get to a project, and I'm not saying invest in Flux. You do your own research. It is for some people. If you're constantly checking charts and chasing shitcoins, Flux isn't the place to be, right? If you're in it for the right reasons, why we came to blockchain to begin with, Flux is the perfect place to be. We are building the future technologies today. They're deployed, and we're watching these things grow. So the state of the union for Flux is strong and continues to get stronger every day. I could not be more proud of the team out there. I could not be more proud of the community. Watching people maneuver these, people that just came into the space and bought GigaChad 3 weeks ago, and he's up 100%, all of a sudden becomes a quantum theorist about quantum compute, right? Like he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Bottom line is that we have an educated community. Yeah, sure, everybody talks about price. I mean, it's kind of a gauge as to where, the investment is going. But we need to get to understand one thing. To get to the next level, we have to build the infrastructure. We are the Amazon year 4, and you guys are the investors in Amazon year 4. Do with that what you will, but we are making a difference. We are changing things. We are well known, and Davey can testify to this. We're known in spaces that would absolutely shock me, right? In passing, there's not a day that goes by that I don't meet somebody or talk to somebody. I'm like, how the fuck did they find out about us? And then I go, get the story, and they're like, oh, I had a brother who, was into crypto and he was doing research, and then it comes back to Flux, and like, this is a Fortune 500 company, which is crazy. So we are out there. We're doing the right things at the right time, and I'm super pleased with where we're at. So with that, what I'll do is we'll give like 20 minutes for AMA here. If you have questions, we'll keep it here because I hate to break this because we have so many live streamers streaming right now. So let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and throw up questions.
Yeah, and maybe then why don't we take a 2-minute break or something so that you can drink something?
No, I'm good.
We're good. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, I got Zen. I'm gonna take a Zen. I'll be fine.
All right.
The live stream is brought to you by Zen.
So we addressed this already. But yes, we will be releasing this presentation on Discord soon enough, and Dan said as well on on X. Sorry. Is Clore a competitor to Flux, or is that something that could be rolled into the Flux marketplace as a third-party provider? I'll answer that one first.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't see them as competition, but I'm interested.
I don't see them as a competition play, but I don't also see them straight away being incorporated into the Flux marketplace as they are currently. I have concerns with some security pieces on their infrastructure, on how they're building things out. That doesn't mean they're bad. I've just got concerns, and we are working with some bigger players that need certain security pieces that we have to be able to provide. So it might be a different way of implementing how we're going to do that. Again, some of these things might have been answered during the presentation, but I do want to bring it up again. So,
dude, it's a long ass presentation. So
exactly. So
like most people will start it and put me on in the background, and they'll just kind of zone out. So
they're waking back up now.
If it's double questions, we're not worried about it. Just throw it out there. Yep. We're working on documents. That's actually Blazing Hash Rate. That's called documents and document intelligence. It actually is released in an alpha internal use, and it's working good. So I imagine sometime in Q1, very early Q1, we'll see the first version of documents and document intelligence roll out, which, by the way, is a game changer. And here's why it's a game changer: is we don't store your data. A ChatGPT, and I think Grok does it as well. They store and harvest all your data. We don't.
Yeah, Grok is harvesting all the Twitter data, right? So
yeah, I mean, its training models are coming from what we're using it for. So Flux doesn't do that. We use open source platforms. We have an open source algorithm. We don't, garner data or sell data or garner your information.
And one thing extra, we didn't talk about it. We didn't really talk about Influx as much. But if you want your own Flux AI, we'll run it for you privately. So you can have your own instance of Flux AI.
See, Davey, I think
data security.
I think people overlook why that's important. Okay, but you've seen this a lot in the medical field as you've started to traverse those guys. Tell them why private data is essential for AI.
It's actually quite simple, right? So traversing RSNA last week in Chicago, there's a lot of AI companies who use ChatGPT or OpenAI as their backend for AI. So what they're doing is, for instance, you take a chest X-ray, you upload it to Flux AI, or in this case, they're uploading it to ChatGPT. Already mind-boggling. And then they use that to get the data and then create reports this danger with that is now you're uploading patient data to a public cloud. That is a HIPAA violation right there. Big issue. So what we're doing is we're working with some of these companies now, and we're basically standing up privatized GPT prompts for them so that they can upload their own data, patient data, to a secure location. They're in control of the data, so they can actually remove said data after it's been utilized, and they can move on, and your data, your own patient data is secure. That is a big, big deal. That's what we're basically with the influx side of things. That's what we're also helping people build out. And then, of course, there's also the APIs that come with that. So now they have their own personal, private APIs that they can utilize. That is going to make a big difference in the medical field. That's the same for government usage. It's the same for financial usage. So there's a lot more things to it. And then, of course, on top of that, we're going to have our audits. We have our certifications that are coming. We're basically ready.
Yeah. Hey, actually, can you throw up I just marked Geek of All Trades threw up a comment, and I want to throw that out there.
This one?
Audit all the things. That is expensive.
Oh, impressive, but expensive too.
Expensive is the understatement. Influx, the company, has dedicated $1 million of resources to audit our entire platform. It is unbelievably expensive, but it's unbelievably value. The company has invested several $1 million over the length of this with internal, external audits, our CVE reporting structure. Our bug bounty is unbelievably successful. I get at least 6 of those a day, mostly script kiddies they find something on Flux OS and they think it's ours. But it is expensive, it is a commitment, but we are committed to it. So yes, Influx has allocated roughly $1 million for security and structure. So good stuff. When Arcane gets released, since node operators have no access, what's the notification mechanism in case your node fails, a benchmark, or goes down? You're going to still get notifications. You'll still
Watchtower still stays.
Everything stays the same. The interface stays the same. The difference is it's obfuscation on the node operator. And by the way, that's fucking important, because one of the protective pieces of this infrastructure, ISPs cannot be targeted directly for content that goes across their infrastructure, right? There's no way they can control everything that moves through there. Flux has to be the same way. Node operators need to be obfuscated from that code data, which protects them as well, because they can't control it. They're part of a network. They're a provider just like an ISP. So, and we have spent, I can't even tell you how much money in legal. Like it is a retarded, I can say retarded now, Trump's coming back. It's a retarded amount of compute resources, right? I mean, it is insane. That's not a derogatory comment. I'm just kidding. So
no, but you're absolutely right. Like the amount of money we spend on legal and now on audit, it's everything to make sure we're good to go. We're good to go for enterprise. We're good to go to do the really go into competition with some of the big providers out there. These things take time. These things take a lot of money, but it's coming all together now. We're ready for 2025.
Yeah, buddy. So, our goal is to continue to keep protecting our community, because you're our biggest asset by far. None of this shit means anything without you guys. Like, seriously. If you're not evangelizing this technology and educating people, take this presentation today and become an expert on DePIN. Join X Spaces. Go everywhere you go. The one thing that pisses me off, okay, here, soapbox, Diddy. The one thing that pisses me off, all right, is I look at these chat comments in here, and they say we should get bigger customers. We should grow this. We should get here. We should do this. Don't fucking should on me. That is you. That is like me telling my wife we should do something for our family. It is our responsibility. You are the community. You are as valuable of an asset as I am. They can get hit by a car tomorrow. Flux goes on. You people are the reason why we grow. So you need to be those evangelists. I'll tell you, perfect for instance. Most legacy technology sectors, if you go to their X, it's completely fucking dead. And you can be the ones that jump into something with 2 or 3 comments and say, hey guys, have you ever checked out Flux? I don't want to hear anybody saying we should. The team is doing their part. It's time for all of us as a team to do our part. Soapbox out. Don't shit on me. Don't fucking shit on me.
Yeah, somebody's saying that should be a new shirt. So I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you like
But
my
you
shirt? Now
yeah.
that guy is legit, dude. They went.
Oh yeah. Did he not go in with a chainsaw or something at one point?
Yeah, that's Afuea. That's what he was doing when he was ripping shit off the Afuea. This, and they went from massive deficits, massive corporate spending, massive entrenched kind of deep state to they just literally are in a budget surplus. That's insane. So in the 2 years, Argentina, they're in a budget surplus this year. They're in a surplus.
So it is possible.
It is unbelievably possible.
You make more if you work on your efficiency. All of a sudden, you get a surplus. Who knew?
Yep. Who knew?
Who knew?
Don't shoot at me. That's your new thing. If somebody says it to you, and use it in your regular life, man. Like, somebody comes in and says, we should. A should unowned is a should undone, right? So you need to come out of that conversation with who owns it. Davey knows I do this shit all the time. I'm on a call. We're talking this, that, the other thing. We should do this. I'm saying, okay, who's going to own that?
Oh, yeah. He does not take should.
It's unfortunate that Davey's the one that owns most of it. But I make sure that when our team, my entire team, wherever they're floating around.
No, but Dan's right. Like he literally does say that. If we come back in a meeting and we say, yeah, we should do this or that, and he's like, yeah, and who is doing it now? That is not something we leave open. If one of us say we should do this, that is an action item, and we will take an action on that.
Yep.
But to go back, we get a lot of, and I see that in the market launch and Discord and all that. Oh, Flux should do this. Flux should do that. But we are on all the important pieces. We're at every important event. We have Cypherpunk where you can interact with us and come with us directly, face to face with us, and come with ideas. But we can be everywhere, right? At one point, it also comes to you as an individual to do your part.
Yeah, and I would even take it a step further. If you're here for the pumponomics of crypto, just leave. Like, you know what I mean? If you're not willing to educate yourself and grow, then there's another project where you can shill. But if you want to grow and be part of a community that's growing it out, Mark Cuban yesterday said that Harris lost the election specifically around crypto. And I believe that. There was a movement, I personally donated a shit ton of money.
Well, we saw what was going on at in Nashville, right? We had RFK there. We had Trump there. That room was packed. Pro and con Trump, folks. But who was not there?
Blockchain should not be political. That's what it comes down to. And I found by heading to DC, I've talked to the Digital Commerce invited me to speak on one of their calls with their legislative bodies, mostly Democrats. I'd say 90% Democrats. And they want to understand the technology and they want to understand how it benefits them. It should be a nonpartisan, unpolitical piece. It's been politicized, but make no mistake, like the people that think it's going to be a fucking free-for-all when Trump gets in, they have a really rude awakening. I'm telling you, there will be a culling. And when it comes, your shit coins are not going to fare well, right? So regulatory compliance is still important, And by the way, my lobby to DC has always been give us a regulatory sandbox. Let us develop, Flux is born and was born and made here in America, right? It's a global phenomenon, right? But in the end, we have to get our legislative bodies to understand the technology. So whether you're Democrat or Republican or Libertarian or Independent or Green Party, whatever the hell you are, you should be able to want decentralization, because the next person that comes in would be able to do exactly what the Biden administration has done with Operation Choke Point 2.0 and censor you by debanking you. So let's get to the point where that doesn't fucking matter. Okay, next question.
All right.
Is that when last parallel asset?
That was done.
The last
Workspace.
payable PA is
Is
done.
done.
The only one that's set to be released is the Bitcoin PA, which I believe
We did have to switch it around there. We were going to do it with the Bitcoin one, parallel asset, as the last payable one.
Taproot we looked at, and I think we're going to do it ourselves. So,
yeah, but
that does beg a bigger question, because I do have people ask me all the time. They say, now that if you reword this question, when more parallel assets, that's going to be up to the community. At this particular point in time, our scaling assets, which are our first 10, which were incentivized, are done. And we can look at adding additional parallel assets with snapshots without adjusting our economic model. It isn't going to be as lucrative as we were with our first go rounds. If you were in very early on and you scaled appropriately, you made a shit ton of flux off of your scaling. And we want to continue that on. But there will be a piece with progressive node rewards to play into this as well. So PNR is going to take into account not only additional new parallel assets for people with long-term compute. And here's the other thing, is will it be for people that are actually staying with the ecosystem and building on the ecosystem? There's a way to do that, right? So there's lots of stuff that we can do, incentivized to come here and stay here. So good things are going to happen then. So we're not done with PAs by any imagination. We've talked about Caspa as a PA with our KCR 20 tokens. We've talked about Alephium as a PA. We like them. Proof of work project, rock solid. So I think you can definitely see Caspa as a PA. You could definitely see Alephium as a PA. You could see PAs across the board. So good things coming. And eventually I think what you're going to see is at some level, we're going to have RWAs on Flux. Because people have asked about that. And it's again, goes back to that framework, man. Like delivery model, give me the technology, we'll push it out. RWAs fits right into that. So I think you could definitely see an asset layer eventually deployed on top of Flux. I don't know what that looks like yet. So don't everybody run out and say we're getting an asset layer on Flux. I don't know what that looks like. This is long-term thoughts, but we definitely want to be able to do those kind of things.
So I can have my poop coin on Flux?
Poop coin will not be added to Flux. I'm sorry. Good try, though.
We can try.
It says adaptation of the new ecosystem is undoubtedly a consequence that will come as the aspects continue to improve. Congratulations. Thank you. I don't think people understands the depth of what we do. I'm hoping today's State of the Union, if you stayed for the whole thing, and this by far has been probably the most popular live stream we've ever had, which is super exciting for me because, well, that means everybody's in it still. You guys are here and you're rocking it. So that's all good shit. So thank you, Julio. And I appreciate that. That is insightful.
All right. Well, Flux AI or better ChatGPT Pro. In this period, ChatGPT subscription costs $200. I think he
What think of it this way. What is the important part of ChatGPT Pro?
Wow.
The important part is the API integration.
Yeah.
So the Microsoft product, what's it called? Their AI thing that they Copilot, right? Copilot. We actually had, and I won't say who it is, Davey, but I will say we had a customer, a fucking large customer, who, when the ChatGPT thing happened, immediately picked the phone up and called us and said, "Hey, what are we going to do to start load balancing this?" The APIs are everything, and if you don't have the infrastructure to scale those APIs, that subscription, that $200 subscription to Pro, is worthless. Flux AI offers exactly that and can scale on demand with those APIs. The nice thing about it is we have an entire network sitting in our back pocket. So in my opinion, and I'm not saying this because it's our product, I will go to Flux AI every time. It doesn't harvest my data. It doesn't harvest my documents. You know, why do people do document intelligence? And guess what? You have to opt out of this feature. They scan your shit. If you're putting a contract up there, they know what that contract looks like. And they've scanned it. They've put it into their training models.
Yeah, if you create code, if you create ideas, they know it before you actually release it. Now.
When you're doing code generation on ChatGPT, guess what? They have that code that you've generated. It is no longer your fucking idea. It is the idea of the board. That doesn't happen with Flux AI.
The board. I like that.
The value is exponentially greater than ChatGPT because we are not harvesting and using you as a product. So, you know, I get excited when I talk about that, but you get my drift. To me, it's more valuable. It's the one that I would use because my data, my IP, my infrastructure, and we'll have a private version for Flux development as well. Is it should only be mine, and it shouldn't be harvested by anyone else. So there's a reason why Microsoft invested $1 quadrillion into ChatGPT. It's your data they want.
Yeah, what does Microsoft charge for Copilot? I think it was like $30 in their 365 package. It's $30, I believe, per user.
It's expensive. It's $200 for the Pro version. I do know that.
Well, that's OpenAI,
yeah. That's OpenAI with the API. Our version, I think, is going to be super cheap. I can't tell you what it is.
We're currently the regular. So you have the free version, you have your $5 version, and the $9.99 version. But we have to look.
The $9.99 version's a steal because I've made more amazing AI picks. I love tormenting my kids with those damn things. You know,
I use actually just full transparency. I used Flux AI the other day on a Saturday night, and I texted Dan and I was like, "Hey, I just finished an AI trading bot on Flux AI."
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you notice he didn't share it with me though.
No, it's doing great.
It's ignorant. That's ignorant. Yeah, you could definitely see some automated AI trade bots. We've already started to play around with some stuff there as well. All right, next.
It's on the screen. You picked it, I think.
You earn from Zelcore fees when you adjust these fees to market realities. We make fees, and we have no intention of changing those. I mean, you guys have to know that we have to pay the bills. So there's ways that we pay the bills. We do that through blockchain as a service within Flux. We do it through Zelcore, Fusion fees, so on and so forth. We have no interest in moving away from our current model because we have to make some money and revenue. Otherwise, the shit doesn't get developed. Facts. So, you know, I love you guys. I'd love to give it to you for free. But developers that sit there and tell you that everything's for free are idiots and they don't plan long term, right?
Well, and we need to be able to pay Kibble for Dibia as well, because I see Dibia is hanging out there. But no, we get that question. That's not what, a few years in that we get the same question over and over and over. At one point, we also need to be able to eat and pay for bills and such. So things are not for free, unfortunately, in the real world.
We got to feed the devs, man. We've got to feed the devs.
Yeah, they get really angry when you don't feed them, like really angry.
Somebody said, I get the need for Fusion fees, but they are disappointingly high than the cost of running the product. Dude, Fusion assets, parallel assets were free. Bitching you have to pay a fee on those parallel assets is, I don't understand it. You know, I get it. You know, parallel mining charges a fee and so on and so forth, as it should be. Bottom line is, guys, is if you want a quality product, we work on reducing the demand on the community all the time. But if we don't make some money, we can't keep the project going. And we developed straight through the worst bear market ever in the history of crypto. And we built an amazing fucking product. So we've done it right. We're good stewards of our resources. We don't spend money on stupid shit. We don't buy sponsorships for stupid stuff. I mean, our marketing and PR team is all internal. We build out a high quality. We've got Shannon and Betty and Marcio, and oh my God, the marketing, Richard, all these people, they do an amazing job. We're very good stewards of our resources. But with that, not everything in this world is free, guys. We try to keep it as cheap as possible, but part of it is we have to actually make money to keep the project going.
How do you think companies will adapt to the new decentralized cloud Web3 systems? Is the system truly prepared to support a global network? Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the adoption rate is much simpler than what they thought. Like, it's one of the best things in the world when you're working with a customer and they deploy something and they're like, well, holy shit, this is easier than AWS. I'm like, well, no shit. And you don't have to pay $1 gazillion to do it. Or if somebody's like, wait a minute. We see a lot of this in the medical community. Wait a minute. You don't harvest my data? You don't use my data? No, we don't. That's not how we make money. We make a small fee on the products that we offer, and that helps to power the ecosystem. So it's all based in Flux. That's how we work. So good stuff. When is Flux revenue dashboard coming? Replace Bunny Analyst. I was really disappointed to see Bunny Analyst go. I tried to buy that off of him multiple times, and he refused to do so. Don't know why. But we have Simon, one of our developers. He's Vader, if you're floating around out there. He's working on a metrics structure that will give you your revenue revenue dashboard. So, but here, the other thing you have to keep in mind is you're going to get the revenue generated by Flux OS. If it's generated by Influx, those will not be reported. So it's only going to be the amount that's reported that's being reissued back out to the miners and so on and so forth, because Influx charges a fee for that service as well. So the dashboard will be inclusive of all products, but there may be parts that are not published publicly because those are, Influx is a private company, so they're doing their thing. So, but with the foundation, one of the areas that we're working, one of the first areas is to build out those transparency pieces as well. The foundation will be 100% transparent in everything it does. So revenue, income, sales, so on and so forth. And again, that wouldn't be related to Influx any stretch of the imagination. Any company can build on Flux, by the way. I have a company that I just invested in personally. It's called Grid. Grid deploys Flux and Akash in the same platform. Check it out. I think it's the website.
Yeah, it's basically you create something on GitHub and then you go deploy straight up.
Yeah, it's super easy, and the underlying component is they're essentially upselling our products and making it super easy for people to be able to utilize it. So I don't know what the website is, Davey. I invested in it, but I don't know what the damn website is.
I'll get it for you in a second.
I think it's like Grid Online or something like that. Anyway, you can post it in chat. But these are products that people are building and they're monetizing it themselves. So it isn't an Influx supported project. I invested in it because I was like, this shit's legit. It's the same way with Flux Runner. This shit's legit. So if you want to make some money building something, build it and make it something we need. And we will invest in it and invest in you. And there are grants available. We have $1 million sitting in queue in Flux for people to develop things out. So, I would say if you're not making money on, if there was an enterprising person out there and they're like, hey, maybe I'll build Bunny Analyst, go do it and we'll pay you to do it. That's the cool thing. Would you give us the first letter of the name of the mysterious company that's waiting for the new nodes? No, I can't do that, guys. And NDAs are a bitch. But I will say this, you will be pleased. You will be very fucking pleased. You will be absolutely fucking shocked. Okay? It changes the game. It pushes DePIN out of the conventional space and into the, it's a legacy.
It's something that's not been done.
It's something that I couldn't see coming to us for another several years, but it's coming. So,
and it's something that a lot of folks claimed before, but this is different. This is the real deal.
I can't wait. And you're not going to have to wait long to know. So that's
No, exactly. Exactly.
all right. Next.
Let's
If
just see.
I buy Flux service with dollars, what happens to the money? Whose account does it go to? Do the node operators get something out of it? It depends on what it is. For Flux Edge, it would go, I think the split's like, what is the split, Davey? Is it 80-20 to the
Yeah, I think it is something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 80-20. So 80% get redistributed to anyone running the infrastructure, and the other 20% go to Influx for maintaining the info. So we're trying to, and by the way, that's the cheapest of any of the cloud products out there, because we went through and evaluated what they were getting, and then we went cheaper than that. So yes, those proceeds would go to people with Edge cards providing Edge services. Flux OS is a little bit different. It would go to for the deployment would go to Influx, and as progressive node rewards come out, that would go a portion to Influx, the rest to the people providing the node infrastructure.
Yeah, Max just confirmed it. Apparently, standard is about 75-25.
Yeah, so at 80-20, thanks, Max. Max, love your channel too, by the way, bro. You're a good dude. Yeah, and then we looked at the conventional ones like Salad and some of the other players, and then we looked at Clore. We looked at
I haven't heard of Salad these days lately.
That's dog shit. That's why. Although I think Mining King likes it. I don't know if he likes it. So yeah, I mean we're well under what the standard is.
Somebody who was there from day one.
What you guys have done has worked for years. Continue the outstanding work you're doing. Mine's Zcash from day one. Bro, thank you. You're OG, man. I appreciate you. And thanks for staying with us, man. And you know, the OGs who look back at what we've done, they know. Any ideas on how to get more people to use Flux? I don't know, dude. You tell me. We should all be evangelists. We should be in every fucking DePIN live space out there trying to talk about it and evangelize it. It isn't our job to walk around and tell people about it. We have a wonderful platform, dude. We're watching legacy media become totally irrelevant because of consumer-based media. So we became the news. We are the news. There's no reason why you guys can't be out there, proliferating what we're doing, sharing it with the people that you know, going into projects that you work with and say, hey, what are you doing for decentralization and how can we help you get more decentralized with Flux? We should all be doing those things.
And soon it'll be millions without knowing their own Flux. Fully realizing their own Flux. Let me say it that way.
Max said Salad runs on Windows. Need I say more? That's true, dude. Very, very astute observation.
Yeah. So Windows is a good platform. Don't get me wrong. But Windows comes with a couple issues when it comes to security and compute. So.
Fuck that stability, dude. It's dog shit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's time for a Windows update.
Yeah. So, of course, we do Flux Core on everything because people want to use their desktops, or maybe I've got this mining computer over here. It's got 2 cards, and I want to use it to mine in the evening while I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? So it has to be there, but it isn't optimal. Okay. What about next? Anybody else?
Please reach out to the marketing. Tell them to allow Flux Instagram stories to be able to be shared on our own stories. If we all share them, we can reach a bigger audience.
Oh, I didn't know that this wasn't enabled. Good.
Yep.
Well done. Can Davey? Can you shoot?
Betty's here.
Betty or
Sure she's seen it already.
Betty, this is a good one. Yeah, we should have this enabled. See, this is the shit that I'm talking about. It shouldn't take coming to a State of the Union for us to talk about these things. Glad you brought it
on Discord.
We need to bring these things up anytime.
Shannon says noted.
Well done, Shannon. Thank you.
This is new to me, but I saw something floating around on the market launch. Was one of our interns doing something last night?
Yeah, that was me being a troll. I have no interest in a meme coin, guys. Sorry. I got access to the main Flux account last night, was having some fun. So I don't know, I was bored. I started trolling Litecoin and other projects. It was kind of fun. I think I might do that every Friday evening. have a cigar and a bourbon, sit there and just troll people. It was fun. Nah, we'll do it. I promise I won't do it, guys.
All good. All good. All right. Any other questions?
What a turnout. I am unbelievably grateful that you all came to listen to me run my mouth for almost 2.5 hours. Oh my God, I can't believe that. And I appreciate everyone. I look forward to, if you have questions and we didn't answer them, or maybe we missed them, and I apologize for that, just come into our Discord and throw them in there. Davey and I will be around for a while this afternoon to field any questions. Go check out our products. Download Zelcore, download SSP, check out Flux AI. You know, if you need somewhere to store your documents, check out Flux Drive. Become good stewards of this. Davey, let's go ahead and do you have the thing where we can roll real quick? I want to give a couple things away.
I haven't done it in a while. I'm pretty sure I can. Give me 1 sec.
Well, we're going to give away 2 of these. I'll give two of the Founder Edition books away to start. And then we'll work our way up to, I'm not going to do that shit. I'm just going to give the gift cards away on here too. Fuck it. Oh, there was lots of leaks, dude. You had to be here for the whole thing. You just had to be here. So Davey's working on getting us to roll. So it'll be, what do we use, a hashtag?
Yeah, hashtag. So give me your words and I'll start.
Yeah, let's do hashtag DPIN. Everybody that wants to compete, we're going to leave it open for 30 seconds. Okay, so if you want to participate, hashtag DPIN in the chat. Hashtag DPIN in the chat. Has to be hashtag, guys. Just writing the word DPIN doesn't work. Hashtag DPIN. And we'll start 30 seconds right now. Hashtag DPIN. Come on, there's like 3,500 of you watching this thing. You guys can get involved and do this shit. Hashtag DPIN.
It's still collecting.
Give it 5 more seconds. All right. Close it. Let's roll.
Draw. There you go.
Benjamin. Good deal, man. You won. So there you go. I'll set that one to the side for you. And I got another one to give away, Davey. So do we want to do another roll?
Straight away.
Peter Pang. Peter.
I love that name.
Peter Pang.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
I'm glad.
Love the avatar too.
Yeah. Whatever that is. All right. Next one, we're going to give away the $200 gift certificate to the new Flux store. And the hashtag is going to be hashtag Flux. Hashtag Flux. We're going to do 15 seconds starting now. Hashtag Flux. Hashtag Flux.
We're almost at 3,000 viewers.
We're over 3,000. You're only seeing what's on 2 of the channels. You got to go to the other channels. X is up. Concurrent views.
All right.
Close it up. This is for a $200 gift certificate to the Flux store. AOL, congratulations, man.
That still exists?
I don't know. He needs it to redo. I heard he's going to do like Enron did and buy the Twitter space and bring AOL back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the very last one is our grand prize. It's a $500 gift card to the Apple store. And yes, I just wanted to do something different. So that's why I did the Apple store. So if you have an Android, you probably don't, unless you want to give it away as a Christmas gift, I guess. So we're going to do hashtag Dan Rocks.
Oh, God. All right.
Hashtag Dan Rocks. All one word, lowercase. Dan Rocks. I love to see this. This is
lowercase.
Hashtag Dan Rocks. Hey, I bought the gift card and I'm giving it
No,
away.
that's fair. No, that's fair. You can do. You do you.
All right. We'll give it, this is a big one. So we'll give it like 20 seconds. Hashtag Dan Rocks. Make sure you have the hashtag, people. Otherwise, it won't pick up your roll.
I'm not competing in that one. I'm not typing it. I already had to type it once now. It's good. I'm good.
You're not allowed to win that. All right.
All right. Going once.
Going
twice.
Hold on. They're still coming in left and right. Okay. Closed. All right. Let's roll it. Shen Yi. Sheng Yi. Sheng Yi, can you use this Apple card? Because that's the key. It has to be somebody that's going to be able to use this. Can you use this Apple card? Just in the thing, just say yes or no. Photo, I saw your name floating around there. I thought for sure you were getting something.
Yeah, there was a couple people there floating around.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I guess he can use it. So, all right. Long story short, guys.
He's not even here, apparently. He's not even responding, but he did fill in the thing, so.
Re-roll. If he doesn't respond, we're going to go with a re-roll.
Give me 1 second. I'm just double checking if he actually.
You have to be here for the grand prize, guys.
And he did fill it in, so.
Can you roll it again?
All right, let's do it again.
You got to be here to claim this shit. IB Droid.
You better not be an Android user, but hey, you know.
Yeah, IB Droid, are you here? In the chat, say here, and then we'll award you with it.
Give you a couple of minutes.
Couple seconds. You got to be quick on the draw.
Come on, are you here? Come on, folks.
All right, going once. Going twice.
Yes, he's there.
IB Droid got it. All right, there you go, brother. All right, guys, to collect your rewards, come on to Discord. We'll take care of you there. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for coming to the State of the Union. Great event. Please pass this on. Retweet, like, share, Instagram, Instapin, Snaptograms, whatever the fuck it is. Go there and do it. So I appreciate all of you, and thank you for your time. Davey, play us out.
Oh, why do they lie? Yeah. There's only one way to go, and that's Web 3.0. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all the people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though. And you know we Web 3.0. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all the people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though. And you know we Web 3.0. I know we fighting these corporate tyrants. They try to silence, but we can see. They tried to censor our speech. They want no privacy. At night I can't sleep, cause my data, they gonna breach. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all the people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though. And you know we Web 3.0. Don't be evil, Flux freeing all my people, fluxing on them now like a cheat code. Flux gon' keep you from a breach though. And you know we Web 3.0. And you know we Web 3.0. And you know we were 3.0.